All systems nominal.
それでは早速全速前進
You don't know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Brian, and I am joined by Alice.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, people should just do what they want without shame, whether it's weird or not. Something like that.
I'm also joined by Nico.
All right, I'll come clean. I'm microblogging with the enemy.
Oh, well, pilots, we're returning to the land of near constant cockpit Pisschat, and, well, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad to be here with all of you. It's Coquette Dragoon. Let's launch into it.
I'm so glad to be here in my adult diaper with you.
I just wanted to say up top, as part of the 1 year pod where I guess we're just doing whatever Alice wants, didn't expect it. Happy to be here. Really, really excited.
Yeah.
You know what I think? If I had brought this, if I knew what it was, I would have. If I had brought this, people would be like, I think Alice has a thing because of the manga I brought about diapers and pissing in cockpits. And guys,
No, this one was my fault.
She can't keep getting away with it for something Brian did.
I mean, like, to be fair, at least this is saying this is a kink and I'm being kinky about it, and also everyone involved is an adult. Those are the two major W's this has over other piss media we've incidentally covered. Anyway, this is Coquette Dragoon. This is a visual novel, in case you're wondering. And it is we've talked about the spectrum of visual novel to like video game, like that kind of I don't know, milieu. This is a novel that you read by clicking through it. It is a novel, basically.
it is a kinetic novel, is the cadence you would use in the visual novel sphere. While there are options for choices, those do not exist. You're reading a book.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering about that.
Sometimes if you're eating Costco pizza, you can click auto and it'll click for you, which is nice if you're eating Costco pizza, just for instance.
That feature only activates if you're eating Costco pizza.
That's real.
That's true. It was. I felt very seen by that feature.
So this is being kind of published chapter by chapter, kind of like I don't know, like other games that do this. I can't think of an example right now. But
the one that jumped to my mind was my first encounter with it as a video game was Life is Strange. Hilariously,
Life is Strange was actually the word I was trying to think of, but I kept coming up with Her Story, which is not the same thing.
That's not correct even. That's not even close. No, there was a while when like episodic game drops were common even for like higher budget stuff. And I gotta say, I still like it. Like if you've got a fourth of a
what
video
was that
game,
company
you might as
that
well hand
did
it to me.
a million of those and then went under?
Oh, Telltale.
Yeah, Telltale style games. But those have choices. This didn't. But
and it also lets us kind of take off little chunks of it. I think it'll be nice to do like chapters, like the end of chapter 5 through, I don't know, volume 2 or whatever next time we want to touch on this.
Yeah.
But,
we're at this time 90% released because chapter 5 part 1 just released earlier this week by time of recording, which is great for us.
Yes.
You can really see the vision.
Indeed. So story, art, backgrounds, programming are all done by Australian designer Ivy May. I don't know how to pronounce her/their Blue Sky handle, so I'm just going to spell it. It's Burgeroise. I think it's supposed to be a pun of bourgeois and burger, but I don't know how to make those happen in my mouth.
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Anyway,
we're all just gonna have some fun clips of us saying that. That's cool.
Crying, sobbing, eating a bourgeois at Wibbleburger.
Eating a Wibbleburger.
Wibbleburger.
Okay, so and the music was done by Utheka and Jamie Lynn. That's at utheka.net and at lindrum.bsky.social. Utheka also contributed some like visual art to the project. A bunch of actually artists have done like it seems like Ivan was like, hey, do you guys want to make a funny billboard? Hey, do you guys want to make a funny t-shirt? And there's like 20 credits for that stuff.
Do you want to make a billboard for 4 lawyers?
Yeah, there are 4 of them.
There are 4 of us. Do you want to make a shirt that my other intro bit, if I didn't encounter microblogging with the enemy, which became my favorite quote, was gonna be, hey guys, rocking up to the OSG slumber party in my attachment trauma shirt.
This is not a part of a franchise technically. It is a part of Seed Sewing Circle, which is like a kind of like a gay web ring of different developers making gay visual novels. This is like the mecha one of it, basically.
This rules.
There are a lot of them. They're great. They're gay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind, unless somebody else has something else, that's kind of all I have on this. Oh, one little tiny tertiary thing, because this is funny. I'm developing a unified theory of 6 degrees of separation with Iris J, because one of the other artists that worked on this is called Taylor _Titmouse. And they are doing a panel. It'll have already happened by the time this episode releases, but they are doing a panel with Iris J about explicit comics. And I'm just sitting here like, every time we do a visual novel, Iris J is there.
A specter is haunting OSG.
That's when Iris J was carrying us. And she was like, you guys are kind of heavy. Can you?
Sorry, Iris. I think it's very important to say that like we cover a lot of things that a lot of people touch. It's actually very refreshing when we get one that is kind of like a very specific artist vision. Like when you're doing everything, I don't know, there's something about it. It's great.
It's very there's an energy, and it's like an energy that Voices of a Distant Star had too, in my opinion.
Yes. You can see the underlying passion.
Yeah.
And while it doesn't have studio level finish to it, it's like, oh, they did like the best they could with the skills they had and push themselves in ways that you can kind of see, especially chapter through chapter. You can see Ivy May get better at things. It's great.
Yep, totally.
I think chapter 3 is like a major turning point. It's like 40,000 words, and we'll talk about it. There's some insanely hype shit in that.
Yeah. So, what did you guys know anything about this? What's the deal?
When you brought it to the table, I looked into it and I said, "Oh my god, they made it in a lab for me." Played it a bit ago. Replayed some scenes that I had highlighted for myself for personal purposes before coming back here. But no, just didn't know about this. I think this is one of those like, oh my god, the buffet is too big. There's so many mecha. With what time will I consume it all? How did I miss this? The perfect dish for me. I watched Price of Smiles before I played this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I could have died in between then, and that's horrifying to me, having died not playing this game. Because as the comments said, which I was reading the itch.io comments, which are number 1, wow, piss. And 2, this is the most video game of all time. And I'm in the second bucket here.
Oh, you're not in the piss bucket?
Not in the piss
I'm in
bucket
that
with us?
too. But plausibly deniable. Because Brian bought it.
Yeah, that's incredible. We do need to be more on them itch.io front pages. We got to be in the streets.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through what I had bought on itch.io. I have a lot of mecha stuff we can talk about. I don't know. We're going to be doing this for 30 years.
Yeah. We're going to be like 65. I'm going to be grooming like, I don't know, Corey's kid to take my seat. And Brian's going to be messaging me like, how dare you, literally, Corey? Why have you stolen my
By then we've devolved into a Legend of the Galactic Heroes style civil war between our factions. It'll be great.
We had a falling out 20 years ago and we still bitterly reference it. Anyway, No, so hilariously, you're talking about like 6 degrees of Iris J. So both I follow, of course, like Iris J and a bunch of people in kind of that comic circle on Blue Sky. I also, of course, follow like AVB and Max Schwartz on Blue Sky with a lot of stuff. And so I did see this come up either from one of those spheres, like somebody put it on my Blue Sky feed. And I watched like the little trailer thing that was kind of cut and like was looking at it and was like, oh, this looks cool. But I didn't really have an impression, as I didn't know if it was something that, like, when a game says it's early access, sometimes what it means is this, where it's like there are finished chapters, but there are more coming. And then sometimes what it means is like it's like 60% done and you're going to randomly find the spots that aren't done. And of course, like, I think both are valid if you're trying to get feedback and stuff, but I tend to want to play things that have completely finished sections for me to dig my teeth into. So episodic drops work for me. So
yeah. Brian, what about you?
This came recommended to us. Somebody on the Discord or on Blue Sky, somebody said, please cover Coquette Dragoon. And I said, okay. And unfortunately, due to the fact that we planned things out 900 years in advance, I no longer have any idea who that was or what context it was under. But whoever, if you still listen, whoever is out there and said that we should cover this, here you go. And sorry.
And thank you.
And thank you. Well, Alice could say I liked this.
I'm saluting. I'm saying thank you. I would die for the Lilac Fleet.
This was for Alice and not necessarily for me.
This may have been a different Discord that you saw it in first.
Uh-huh.
But I do just want to say, I just searched Coquette Dragoon in our Discord, and the person who posted it into video games in, looks like April 24th, 2025, was me.
Oh. Okay.
Thanks for the recommendation, listener Nico M. Des.
Fantastic.
So go to your Blue Sky and find what ski you liked in that time that you got it from. We can do the investigation live on air, but while we do that, Brian, what happened in Coquette Dragoon?
Thanks for asking. Almost nothing. Here we go.
Hey!
Some might say everything that has ever happened, but
one might say the sum total of human history happened.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the sum total of human history happened, by all accounts, what appears to be several times off screen.
One sec, my cat's locked in.
Oh my God, she's joined the game jam. All right, here we go.
Tedo is now stopping Miku from leaving. Oh, no. Anyway, continue.
The Sentinel. All humans are anthros of some cutesy animal or another now, and we've got two big factions. There we go. You'll never believe this, but they hate each other. On one hand, we have the Lilac Fleet, or Strawberry Lemonade Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
A fleet of battleships led by the continent-sized Zephyranthes. The Lilac Fleet... The Lilac Fleet use flowers for fuel. The Lilac Feet...
Post Lilac Feet.
The Lilac Fleet use flowers for fuel, have horrible neurologically devastating mechs, and are politically Andy Weir's freaky little wet dream. On the other hand, we have the Duchy of Lucia, an aristocratic space France that can do magic and apparently has some kind of parasitic god host genealogy system we don't know a lot about yet. We see this world through the eyes of Xiomara Rosales, an apocalyptically anxious trans bunny girl who has traded a life of poverty-stricken trauma for a life of cushy pink trauma. On the Lucia side, we follow Princess Emile de Lucia and her lesbian cow lady-in-waiting, Honey. Both sides deal with similar issues of estrangement, attachment, and difficulty connecting with others. Certainly this won't be significant later on down the line when something eventually happens. Emile and Honey have been assigned to capture a mysterious Lilac ace pilot named Seema Valentine, and that is basically where we've left off as of the end of Chapter 5, so let's head to a break.
Hi guys, it's break time. You can put down the taser. I'm not here to seduce you anymore. That's passed on to Alice, who's plucking away at a new version of that second break she does. This one's going to be part business as usual and part me bloviating about something I really want you all to do. Business as usual. We have content warnings in the episode descriptions. Read them if you want to know what we will be talking about. Our website is full of visual references and is also an immaculate web domain that signifies a better era of internet. And we'd love if you told your friends about it and went to it and used it to look at the things that we're talking about in case you're not watching or reading or playing or whatever along with us. You probably knew all that already, so let me get to the other thing before I put you back in the capable hands of my co-hosts. Starting in May, a membership tier is going to be available on our Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/osgpod. This membership tier is $1 per month. You're probably saying, yeah, okay, that sounds fine, but the show is free and you've committed to remaining free, so what gives, idiot? Let me tell you. Alice, Iris, Jay, and I are starting a new limited run monthly podcast on the Fast and the Furious franchise called Cars Don't Fly. You'll get access to that so long as you're sub to that membership tier, just like any other subscription podcast. Cars Don't Fly is very much OSG material, but focused on a very different genre. And I'm also doing like tons of like independent research. I'm watching all the commentaries. I want to speak from a slightly more elevated place in terms of like what we know about the media itself and what makes it tick. We have some guests lined up. I think it's going to be like an all-out blast. I really hope you're interested in joining us for that journey. Again, you can get that sub at ko-fi.com/osgpod starting in late May. If you have already supported us on Ko-Fi for any amount before this, I want you to be grandfathered in. You're eligible just to receive the RSS link via email. Unfortunately, tips don't equate to us having your contact information. All they let me do is like comment and say thank you. I can't like tell who you are or how to get to you. So all I can do is offer. The cutoff on that is May 20th. So email us at questions@osgpod.com or DM us on Blue Sky if you're one of those people, and I'll just give you that RSS link. Sorry, this was a long one. I'm going to give you back to the show now. Don't forget to get into Cars Don't Fly. Bye. And actually, that's inaccurate. It's not the end of Chapter 5. It's like the first half of Chapter 5.
I think it's the end of Chapter 3 that we get the mission, but not the capture.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, I think it's worth saying right up front. I know we put it in our little interstitial. Hey, I'm putting a real warning on this one. Hey, check the notes for content warnings as needed. This gets into it.
Yes, it does.
But I will say, I don't want that to dissuade our audience from engaging with it. Just like be aware of stuff. But like we're coming off of so much 1 year pod. We're coming off of
yes, we are.
so much Gundam. We're coming off of so much specific, like, you know, if you can handle Zeta Gundam, you can handle this.
Totally.
It's just a
Totally
little
agree.
hornier with it. And you know what? That might have saved us if we had more overt horniness instead of just sublimated dead women. You know?
Yeah. Totally.
But you know, much like the 1 year pod, Millie is perhaps the woman that can become like a mother to you. This is in the... I'm putting this in the Gundam canon. They reference Gundam.
They do. They reference Gundam like 47 times.
And a lot of other stuff, but we'll get into it.
What's crazy is that the 1 year war is like happening over there.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately for Camille and a number of other characters who might have used it, or like gotten catharsis from it, the like trans anthro bubblegum disaster is happening in a different part of space.
For real. That's true. This is Jupiter. This is where Shirako came
People
from.
are getting more stupider.
This is where Shirako came from. This is where Judao escaped to.
Yeah.
Judao is in here now.
Yeah.
Judao has a flip phone. Right up top, because it's not related directly to any particular part of the story.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the aesthetics of this game.
Oh
which
my
go
god.
crazy.
I'm obsessed!
They're insane. They're in the best way.
Yeah, like so this game, not to be a Homestuck fan about it. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I had the thought, I think it must have been chapter 3 when we were first getting a lot of like the really cool animations.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I think there is an impulse online for people who engaged with Homestuck or were adjacent to Homestuck to try to identify what is the successor to Homestuck. And typically what they look for is virality, which I don't think is the correct metric. For me, it is things that push your understanding of what you initially started engaging with on screen. I talk a lot about, like, when you were reading that webcomic, the first time you clicked next and there was an animation with music, it was like, oh, we're doing something different here. And I will say that this, I feel like, visual novels are the more accurate inheritor of that, because a lot of people push what visual and kinetic novels can do visually and kinetically and in writing. And this in particular is a visual novel that you will have sections that are like chapter 2 in particular. And there are a lot of other places in other chapters where it is like 2 characters on screen. Sometimes their sprites bump into each other or bounce, and you're going through dialogue, right? Like, it'll look very visual novel. But there are times where you will see comic panels come in on screen, and then you will see the gutters break as other images are superimposed over them. You will see 3D renders. You will see photos that have clearly been filtered and colorized and posterized to fit in with the aesthetic. You will see there's an entire bar that's just like the JPEG artifact bar.
Yep.
It's so good. Like, there are so many things visually that I feel push the envelope, and the music, and like,
we have to talk about the music separately, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, I had that sense of wonder that I had the first time that I really saw Homestuck push the envelope, and I'm only regretful that I don't have more references to things that push the envelope.
Alice?
To bounce off of that, and to continue the thought, it's mixed media. It's mixed media in a way that when I say mixed media, it evokes a certain, like, oh, it's multiple artists coming together. Ivy Mae is doing all of this in a way that is, like, very specifically doing things on screen. To give it away, there's a cat that appears, and it's just a photo of a cat that is just, like, in the way that other photos have been heavily edited for backgrounds. Like, so it's an intentional use of having this cat be a cat. And it's beautiful. But yeah, going from that to, like, when the animation kicks in 3 versus... Yeah, to talk about, like, visual novels, because I play a shitload of them, even the baseline visual novel part of this is at least, what I like to call it is a fidget spinner for visual novels. We're moving characters on screen. We're doing different things with the dialogue boxes, but just different things are happening. And it's in a way that's, like, both exploring Ivy Mae's development as an artist, which you can kind of see through, like, how the backgrounds of the chat boxes have a certain kind of styling for the character denotions, and then changes to a cute pixel, and then, like, the drops for the different chapters and areas you're going into. Suddenly in chapter 5, we got these cute little sprites, and it has a good visual language throughout it that you're like, okay, all of these are intentional, and we're doing crazy things. But I'm never just bored with 2 characters on screen. We'll talk about chapter 2, and I think, just to say it, like, it's the most visual novel of them. I did feel a slog because it's mostly just Honey sitting there and turning left and right, and Piss Dog just bouncing around and bumping into her. And I loved
Can you please call her
name is Belle.
Sorry, random Bell moment.
Random Bell, prognosticated Bell moment.
Anyway, so I think to say it's a visual novel is giving you an idea of clicking dialogue on 2 PNGs. I never really got too exhausted with that in this, because it's trying to constantly move the frame. Ivy Mae does good at, like, using 3D renderings that are heavily photoshopped to give different angled backgrounds that are like, yeah, that bubblegum pink aesthetic, but it's like we're moving enough in a way that's just great. And the dialogue cutoffs were never not funny. It was never not funny when somebody was saying something and another character interrupted without you clicking something. Like, it's fun. I love that shit.
Also, there's a bit that happens sometimes when a character gets really embarrassed where they make a squeaky toy noise. It startled me the same way that it did the first time I heard the new type noise in 0083. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, right, we're doing this. Sorry, now I just want a compilation of every time the new type noise plays a Gundam, but replace it with the squeaky toy.
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ. But yeah, if you haven't like played this or checked it out yet, I would say the visual identity is very like vaporwavy. It's giving Paradise Killer in a way that's like
Paradise Killer.
Yeah.
I kept thinking about Paradise Killer.
Yeah. Which Paradise Killer is also a visual. It's pretty much a visual novel that everyone should play. It's so good. So I made a couple of japes about how nothing happens, and I don't mean nothing happens, but I do mean that for 97% of this visual novel, it is two girls hanging out, and I like two girls hanging out, but that is what's going on.
Well, and it's useful because I want to pull up the exact quote. The references that are pulled on the itch.io page to like be like, okay, here's what you're in for, is Hidamari Sketch / Victory Gundam. And now I haven't seen Victory Gundam, but basically it's like, listen, Catch 22 is here, Martian successor to Desco is here, but also cute girls doing cute things classics are here. Like, and so I think I really like that, like, from minute one, you are aware that you are going to be getting, it reminds me of when you put something in the blender, but you don't set the settings correctly. And it's not bad, but like you pour it in your cup and you're like, wow, that's a big chunk of banana. Because every once in a while, you'll be like, wow, we were going through a nice long area of cute girls doing cute things. And then like, I'm thinking specifically of the part where they're at the school doing the lecture thing, because literally there's like a high school component of this. There are grown adults, but like there's like a high school component to this. But then there's a part where it's just like, oh, and now we're in gun class, and I'm contemplating the purpose for which my gun was created, and like, it's so funny because it will catch you off guard. Like I said, it's like sometimes you'll be like, damn, we're in the thick of it with the mech stuff, and you'll get a big chunk of strawberry and be like, oh. Sorry, it's gay for a second here. We gotta really.
So yeah, I broke this up into two parts. The first part is just episodes 1 and 2. The second part is the rest of it. So part 1, episodes 1 and 2, we meet our cast during a Lucian strike on the Lilac Fleet, during which Xiomara's transport vessel is destroyed, and she is barely saved from drifting through deep space, a la Sandra Bullock.
The plot of Gravity almost happens to her.
Emil gets a dude she doesn't like absolutely murked by a squirrel woman named Seema. And then Honey and a little wolf girl named Belle hang out for conservatively 7,000 hours. Yeah, and that's what happens in episodes 1 and 2.
Don't even make out. It was so funny to me. I was like, at one point I made a note that was like, do you ever get interrupted in the middle of your doomed flirting by a guy being like, hey, did your boss get my boss killed? It's like, yeah, but I'm busy, you know? Like,
or just an unnamed character walking around being an absolute bitch to everyone for no reason.
Okay, so Xiomara, my beloved, my everything. She is me and I am her. This hole was made for me. I love our trans bunny girl main character. We don't learn she's trans for a while, but we all know. We all know. We've read the description. Okay,
we know.
But I think, okay, one of the perfect frameworks of this is that I think is really cool is right up at the front. Our shuttle gets hit. Xiomara's shuttle gets hit, and a Dragoon comes to save them. And the Dragoon just gets murked, just right in front of Xiomara, injures her, but she gets rescued. And in the most like, I love her as a character, and I felt a lot of kinship to her because of the like overthinking of things that people kinship? Can go through.
You're kidding?
Did you
I can.
Xiomara?
But she's like, I want to tell someone that this horrifying, once in a lifetime, almost dying experience happened. I want to know that pilot's name. And I want to, like, dedicate my life to remembering them because they died trying to save me. And then she's like, I can't do that. I don't want to be a burden to anybody for the entirety of the series. And then, like, she drops it later when she finally has her air breathing moment with Ayane. But it's just like, she holds this trauma this entire time. But it's like, hey, Gundam pilots, am I right, guys? See a giant trauma and you just gotta hold on to that and go do war.
But I think what's interesting is that for Seo, she is like, there's two levels to it, right? Because like there's the trauma of her background, which we get unfolded to us slowly. She is from the fringes of the Lilac Fleet, and those ships are doing more like the Expanse. Like those ships are doing like hard Scrabble, working class politics shit. They're doing hard sci-fi dying in space shit. And and part of I think what makes Coquette Dragoon so compelling is that like you are seeing someone from a different genre come into come into Gunbuster, basically the school days area of Gunbuster, and like I'm actually from episode 6 of Gunbuster, and I don't know what to do here.
100%.
It's really good, but Xiomara has already gone through a lot. What happens to Xiomara in the first episode is not the first and worst thing that has happened to her, but it is so bad that it is like, you know, typically what would happen, I feel, in a Gundam story is that this would happen to the character and everyone would see it happen, and then the whole rest of the story would be people saying, it wasn't that bad, get over it. And what I appreciate about this story's framing is that it is that bad. There are people who will be like, whoa, God, that was horrible. Like the surgeon, I think, is the only person who initially gets the lowdown on what happens, and like tries to offer like, hey, we can look up the KIA files for you. We can do like this kind of stuff. But that is the only person initially. This is not something that everyone else is willfully ignorant of. Like, but Xiomara is the person who is making the decision to say like, I can't bring this up. Clearly there's bigger shit on. When it's like, no, you probably should have brought this up immediately to get some help.
And then you get to the big ship, and no one cares that war is happening, and you're like, oh, I was
because we live in vaporwave warship suburbia.
I was gonna say, Sio's living a Chevalier playthrough in a way that's sometimes like, oh, you're at this prompt of your Chevalier playthrough.
Oh, good lord, you've drawn 2 aces.
I also like, so this first chapter really deals with Gio coming to the capital ship, which is just like Japan, and realizing, oh, these people just live in excess and it's insane and nothing matters, and I have money now and I'll never be miserable and I never have to like feel like a piece of shit again, but still holding all of the trauma that comes from living in like a small rural community. But it's all space themed, and I don't know, like the bullying being space bullying was really good. Like, oh, we don't have gravity, so to wait for your line in the cafeteria, you hold the kid in front of you, and no one would hold Joe, or they put tubes down her back so she'd have to go take a shower, which in 0G takes forever. But then you're on the big capital ship and you're like, I can just sit and cry in the shower as much as I want.
We get a lot of little, and this is my favorite part about how much of this is just people talking, is they're talking, they'll drop really fun little like world details that are often like way harder sci-fi than I expect to get. Which is really, really cool. Like there's that stuff. There's brief mentions of like how a lot of different stuff works in 0G. I like the mention later on too of like, there's, when you shower in 0G, there's a risk of drowning.
Yeah, and stuff like that is really cool.
Ivy May is like sneaking these like really valuable little morsels that I'm gonna snort up as I go along, and these girls are holding hands and
the Yuri cocaine. The hard sci-fi cocaine at the Yuri weed store, I think, is what's happening here. I do want to say, like, on the topic of like being from the fringes and coming to the core, it felt really intentional in 2 senses. One, our main character's name is Xiomara Rosales, and so I feel like that kind of sets her up, because like Ayane has a very Japanese name, right? And like there are people who have like fantasy ass names like Seema Valentine. That does not ascribe kind of a nationality. That to me ascribes a sort of Char Aznable character. It doesn't ascribe like a nationality. But like I couldn't stop thinking about all of the stupid discourse about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl when I was thinking about like Xiomara coming in terms of like, hey, there's an American protectorate that we refuse to make a state that is within our sphere, but it is on the edges of the American sphere and is thus subject to way worse material conditions. And then you can just come to, I forget where the fucking Super Bowl was held, but you can just come to the American core where like shit almost kind of doesn't matter. Like where everything is really easy, but also everything still sucks. Like you can access luxury and it still sucks. And it's like,
it doesn't make up for the fact that we're in a never-ending war and that we are in a society bereft of any value. But hey, we're at Wibble Park.
This is a quote from way later on, but I'm just going to say it now.Cio turns to Ayane and says, "Are we in a permanent cultural dead end?" And Ayane says, "Yes, eat your Wibble burger."
literally any conversation in the US right now.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just going to say on the subject of Cio's name, I think narratively it fulfills that function. It is strange to hear that she just picked that off a forum. And
I've been trans before.
Well, yeah, and it's like, and she has darker skin. But then we also get this line that she says in that same conversation, which is that her mom or that somebody didn't want her to have a Western name. And I'm like, what does a Western name mean in space?
Yeah, what does West mean in space?
Well, then they talk about stuff like the imperial era edicts and this, and they talk about these periods, and it's all, I think it's really cool that they don't explain it, because it's like, oh, all of this is just kind of made up. Like they do the amoeba chat. It's like, yeah, we just kind of made all this up over time.
I think that's and they had to, because I think this is a nod to the fact that as referenced, the plot of Big O happened 100 years ago.
Yeah, like the plot of Big O happened and it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They kept hitting the reset button and they were like, and now they're just like, okay, we got to talk about it. This is a fleet that was sent from a place no one remembers, that had its brains wiped with the occult and disinformation campaigns on the internet. And so no one really knows what happened, but we're in an eternal war for some reason with the duchy. And I'm obsessed with it.
It's worth mentioning that magic is real unless you're from the Lilac fleet, in which case magic isn't real, and it gets less real every time we yell that. It's crazy, but I think what you were driving at, Brian, is that like the signifier that I have pointed out has less significance based on like what the story is trying to tell us about the character and like why those signifiers exist. And I hold that in my head at the same time as I hold this idea that it's like, well, words do have meanings, like names do have weight, like choosing certain names do have weight.
Well, and it's still, like I said, it still serves that function, even though it's kind of made up in that way. Yeah.
It's complicated and messy in a way that I think a lot of things are shown to be complicated and messy, not the least of which because it is so funny to be in a Y2K flip phone universe presented to us that is also at the same time terminally online. Like terminally online. It's very funny.
My last thought on this is the last name Rosales really kind of started to evoke in me. So I think in trans femme communities, there is a high proponent of people who turn to the military out of necessity for economic reasons who are trans. Mm-hmm. And all I could think about our two main characters is like, oh, these are two enlisted who, in this world, they have good Dragoon scores, but they're just doing this because they need to get out of the place that they're at. Ayane is doing it not because she doesn't have the money, but because, like, the struggles of a trans femme living in modern society who disagrees with, like, there's a lot to be said about people who are willing to just push all of the war is happening out of their mind, which is a metaphor for like just all horrors of everything. And the reason that Shio and Ayane connect is because they're like, no, we're going to say aloud that it is fucked up. What we're doing is fucked up. I hate this, but this is the only way they could still survive in society. A major plot point is Fufi trying to get Jiao out because she's not made for this. And it's like, no, actually, and this is a real thing militaries do, they keep a tab for everything they're spending to train you. And if you get discharged dishonorably, you're on the hook for it. Your life is destroyed.
Mm-hmm. I do like, there is a, yeah. And I mean, it's like, we see you, our trans girlies who work at Raytheon. your workplace. That is the only thing.
I know you know how.
I know you know how.
I actually just do the stabilizers.
But I do think there is some real, like, there's a lot of interest in Mechsplo, obviously, Mechsploitation, but not in this necessarily. I mean, abroad. But I think it is really interesting how this story explores it, specifically through the character of Lieutenant Susie Fox.
Yes, I want your thoughts on her. So we got our 4 people on our squad. She's number 3.
Oh yeah, we should go through characters. We should just go through characters.
Okay,
like,
so
Brian named a bunch of them.
Rosales,
So,
she's me. That's it. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I see there are a lot of really intense CO moments that I also felt really connected to. She has this one is like a little bit more of a sublimated thing with her, but she has several moments where she has this anxiety of like, who am I becoming in order to survive this place? And there's this theme with her, which is like, how stable is my sense of self? How stable is self? How much control do I have over like the drift of my personality? Which I felt very. I've had so many crises of that nature in my life that I really, really felt that. And so yeah, I agree. I think she's the most accessible character in a lot of really, really good ways.
Yeah, for me, it was her internal dialogue on overthinking what other people are thinking constantly and just like catastrophizing every moment. The internal dialogue that she has is so close to the internal dialogue that I have had that it's scary. If you've ever been insecure, hello, this is you.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't? What are your thoughts on Xiaomara? Tell me, Nico.
She's not me, and she is an exercise in empathy, right? Because like I have a lot of friends who are like her, and I love them dearly, but also sometimes being around that kind of personality type is very exhausting. And you only have so much. It's so hard because you know the thoughts that are on screen happening in Xiomara's head are happening in the heads of your friends. And like there is a part of them that I was always going, my friends are waiting for an opportunity to jettison me. They've hated me the whole time and blah, blah, blah. And you're trying not to meet that conception that's in their head that it's like, okay, when I say that I need to draw a line and I'm tired and I need to take a break, their brain is going to go, oh, I found it. Oh, they're going to jettison me now. And it's like, you're trying not to trigger that, but also you only have limited resources as a human being. And so it's kind of like, there was a lot here for me that helped me, I think, understand where my friends who are more like CR are coming from, you know, because that is exhausting. I remember the first time my very brave spouse, who has a little touch of the tism, as we like to say, explained to me that they script small talk. I don't do that. Sorry, I have ADHD in a way that is so profound and on Front Street on this damn podcast. I may be the most neurotypical person on this podcast.
No, I'm really normal.
Brian's just holding up a peace sign. No, but like I remember the first time that my very brave spouse told me that, and I was just like, how do you do that? That must be exhausting. And they just gave me the look like the fucking Office.
Yeah, bitch, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. And I was like, oh. Right? Because, like, again, that is a very real human disconnect where it's like we are all existing in the same space and trying to care for each other in certain ways. And we may have, like, such drastically different life experiences that you have to just have empathy to bridge that gap because you can't always build off of, oh, our experiences are the same. Because sometimes they just aren't.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Xiomara is not the character I relate to, but I think being put in her shoes and seeing so much of her excruciating, exhausting, internal, hardcore, hugely self-critical, self-conscious, self-defeating, self-deprecating, like having all of that on screen helped me understand in the way that like the first time I had that conversation with my spouse, like helped me understand some stuff. The character I relate to is Ayane.
Yeah.
Our number 2, our bestie, our big sis, Ayane you do it.
Midorikawa.
So she's she's the other squad mate. She is the electronic warfare specialist of their squad. She has just enough score to be a pilot and reminds people of this. She skips class. She's a dumb bimbo. I love her. Like, she's so realized in herself in such a very loud way next to Gio. I don't know. Yeah, she's great. She also wears a SAS Woolly pullover. Hey guys, I'm gonna call out all my little Milsim favorites that happened during this because there are some highlights. Ayane's room 357. We love to see it.
Yeah, I would say like I have things I pull. There's no one in this game that's really for me, I feel. But I pull things from different people. Okay.
The homophobia that you just did.
Alice just like put on gender horse blinders for a bit in a way that was like so strange to me. Anyway, I pull things from all these different characters, and one of the things that I really like about Ayane that I don't necessarily relate to, but I think is just like really, really well executed in her character, which is that under this like kind of aloof attitude, like she is constantly simmeringly furious at the world and at her situation, and later on we see her take it out on a superior officer in a way that just felt absolutely organic. It felt so cathartic. Like everything she does and all the things she does for and to and with CO feel really, really like just well drawn. And so like I think for that reason alone, she's probably my favorite character.
I think her self-sabotaging as a character is a really fun, like, just like that's how she's dealing with the world. She's like, I'm just going to self-sabotage this whole thing. She knows how far the line is for what she can get away with, because she's like, well, they're not going to fire me. I'm the only person who can shoot the gun. I have a score that says I can shoot a gun, so society has to value me now in a way that she hasn't felt valued. But she knows, like, even when she goes to Fun Hill, she's like, I'm just gonna get like written up for this, yelling at my superior officer. I love her. What do you know about self-sabotaging, Nico?
Oh shit, nothing, because I'm neurotypical, as I said.
Nico's always saying that I can buy her a cigarette. She's always saying this.
This isn't a visual medium. Nico is absolutely pinching the bridge of her nose and looking off to the distance when she said that.
Spiritually, I was smoking. I don't smoke, but I spiritually took a drag there just now.
A dragoon?
Yeah. No, so I think this is interesting because it's like, I'm butch. I'm not doing the bimbo stuff that she does, but I understand what it's like now, having escaped femininity, and like, there are definitely days where I'm like, I'm butching it up for a specific, almost comedic performance of butchness. That like, I understand the specific, almost comedic performance of bimbo-ness.
Yeah.
And also just like, hey, gamers, like, I had a very funny moment recently where I was in a crisis about politics, and I was just looking up real estate in another country that was like exceedingly affordable. And then I got to the point where I went, well, here's the thing. I have a college degree in America, which is functionally the same thing as being like, okay, you've tested just sufficient to get a pretty decently paying job.
Yeah, you can be a pilot.
I have no internationally transferable skills. Like, I mean, everybody needs secretaries at some level. Everybody needs admins at some level. But, like, I am not specialized enough. I don't have foreign language proficiencies. I have
the language thing is going to be the
I am like so barely adequate for America that I had this moment where I'm like, oh, like, it doesn't really matter like how affordable my life could be in a country that isn't in the imperial core, or like how much better that might be for me. I have no real value as a person.
So would you say that your fantasy is to go live with the centaurs and do admin work for them?
Oh, yeah, and open a porn studio.
I want to suck off a centaur so bad. If I don't get to suck off a centaur in my life, I might as well kill myself. Is a line in this game.
There have definitely been times I've said that, not about sucking off centaurs, but like about like visiting a specific place, going and seeing a painting. Like, if I don't see this painting, I might as well just explode.
This historical lesbian and or very sad divorced man walked through these halls. I must come here and walk through these halls.
I know. But like, it is really funny to see someone who is like barely adequate for what they do, but they do have some security. But there's almost this imposter syndrome feeling of like, I mean, I know I technically belong here. It doesn't have the kind of imposter syndrome that CO has, which like constantly is like on that level, but just kind of the level of like, I know that I am only here by the skin of my teeth, and I'm here on sufferance, and a lot of people don't care for me. I also know that I'm here as part of an engine that is horrible, and I'm putting in 20% effort into my job. Like, I'm so related. But the other thing that makes me relate to Ayane is this, for me, was foundational in my understanding myself. I once wanted to go to a fan sign event, and I was so nervous. I was so stressed out. I was going alone, and I was like, okay, I'm going to this. Like, I'm so stressed out. I don't know that I'm even going to talk to the person I want to sign my stuff because I'm so stressed out. And I entered the lobby, and I encountered a girl who was more stressed out than I was, and a switch flipped. When I say I got us into the inner circle to have an extended conversation with the person who then signed all of our stuff, and I was the person who escorted her into the circle, created the conversational openings. I so identify with Ayane as a person who is like, I hate everything I'm doing here, but I've encountered someone who is like suffering more, and that has activated in me, one, a sort of cuteness aggression, and two, a sort of protectiveness that is unexpected for someone who slacks off as hard as I do. And like, that is where I'm like, oh, Ayane is me. Okay.
I like that her tail wags a lot. She's a hyena, and it's really cute. And she has cute gradient hair.
Oh, she's a hyena.
And I just love her art. Her art is so cutesy.
I keep missing what animals people are. I until right now, I thought she was a chinchilla, but that makes sense.
No, she's a hyena, which is meow. Spoiler alert. Them titties fake, and I love that.
It's so funny.
It is so funny. The first time they have a sleepover, and she's like,
flat.
They're completely flat now. And I immediately had the thing where it's like, I wear sports bras all the time, so I tend to be flat. When people find out that I'm a C cup, they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, it's because I don't live the lifestyle. I could go up if I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm living the attachment trauma t-shirt completely flat look lifestyle.
So, Susie.
Susie is the dog mom of the group, and she's just a little stresso espresso.
See, there are mom friends who nominate themselves as mom friends because actually they want to assert a sort of psychological control over their friends, and they can't face that, so they characterize themselves as a soft authority figure. And then there are mom friends who are like, I'm the mom friend of this group because everyone else is dysfunctional, but I understand that my position as the mom here is only softening the harshness and horror of the world, and that I am complicit in the deeper my friends are dragged into this because I am the one who is softening all of the things that might cause them to reject it and escape.
I am the one handing them the gun when they should not have a gun.
Yeah.
I'm smiling and nodding while I hand them the gun, whereas if they just gotten handed the gun, they might have, I don't know, shot their commanding officer.
The friend who lies to you often, and then when you find out is like, I lied to you, but honestly, admit it was the right choice. Like, you were gonna have a crash out. Like, sometimes you don't need to know that the GI is gonna hurt and you're gonna vomit after, you know?
Yeah. There's a specific thing I wrote down about her. Sorry, I'm looking for this.
Straight, which I assumedly
Somebody has
straight.
To be.
I like that she lives in the suburbs. I like that she's the commanding officer, but not in title. I don't know. I love her character. It's so realized. I know what her whole life is. The one time she blows up at the commanding officer in front of CO is beautiful.
What I said was I like the complicated position that Susie has put in of basically having to do the PR/emotional labor /grooming of presenting the horror of being a pilot in a digestible way. She is the velvet glove on the iron fist. And she's very aware that that is her role. And I like that she is emotionally and ethically conflicted about it.
Totally.
Because she's like, listen, nothing is going to change the fact that they've already signed the contracts and they're here. But is it better or worse that I am sanding some of the rough edges off? Like, is it better or worse that I am helping the military in this very specific way?
I like how the different people approach discussing this, which Susie is like, regulations say I can't talk about it, but then you have the entryway lady who's just like, hey, we shouldn't be talking about this. Leans in, let's talk about this. And like Ayane, who's like, I'm actually microblogging with the enemy and I've broken into desks. Like, the level you're willing to just discuss that we're doing horrifying things, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, Char Aznabal is here, and she's a squirrel.
Ayane might be kind of my favorite, like, executed character. This is absolutely my favorite design. I love when Seema's being drawn. I'm clapping. I'm standing up and I'm clapping when Seema's on the screen.
Seema Valentine is a squirrel girl pilot of the Honeybee Dragon. Number one, those glasses are fake. This is a major plot point. She doesn't want anybody to know.
Why do girls lie about needing glasses? And I was thinking directly of Alice.
She's aura farming. She goes to a shitty dive bar for regular soldiers so she can aura farm drink. She's wearing this cunty little customized outfit. She's painted her dragoon goddishly done, but she's not allowed to do public appearances. Also, hey, can we talk about it? By the way, Dragoon pilots are heroes and also media icons, and also they have to have media training. There are gunpla kits of their Dragoons, if they're popular enough. There are trading cards.
Unless they are extremely classified. I think that is so funny that they're like, we are not having a War Thunder experience in the fucking comments on our latest model. Okay? We are not posting a model of fucking the Honeybee Dragoon and having some motherfucker who is in the military posting a comment and saying, actually, this is inaccurate because if you look at these classified documents, she should have these verniers instead of the other kind. And it's like, they're like, no, okay, some people get a gunpla, you don't get a gunpla.
we say Char a lot with her, but I actually think she's more of a Rei Ayanami. She's very aloof. She seems to be like very like job oriented, and also there is something about her that we don't know.
When we talk about the Dragoons, I'm very excited to talk about that.
This is a good caveat or segue to that because, in my opinion, at least, she has the best ones. We can talk about hers, the Honeybee.
Mm-hmm.
Do we just want to do the Dragoons, or do we want to wait until part 3? Part 2. I don't care.
Let's just do it now. Let's just do it now.
Okay, the Honeybee Dragoon.
Well, and it's one of the first things we see on screen, right? So when we are presented Dragoons as a concept, first of all, we see the Duchy Dragoons, which I do think is funny. There's an aesthetic sensibility difference between these two factions in such a funny way.
It's so loud.
The Duchy, their Dragoons look way more like people in this universe. I mean, I think they have more animalistic features, but like they have eyes instead of like visors. Like they have like really specific details. And the main complaint that we first hear from Emile, the princess, we didn't talk about the people on the Duchy side, but like Emile, the crown princess, the first thing that she notes about them is like, damn, your ships are ugly. You have been repurposing, recycling, kit bashing your fucking ships forever, and they all look fucking ugly. Like there's a real, we are the royalty and we do all of our shit like Versailles. All of our shit is either Gucci or Versailles. Like we're doing that kind of shit. But then the first thing we see tear apart one of these pretty little Duchy mechs is the Honeybee.
The Honeybee uses a lance.
Yup. Oh,
and I just have to talk about that lance
does.
immediately, which is we learn that in the parts of the war where it got really, really dark, they took children pilots and gave them anti-ship lances that you basically shoved into a ship's engine to cause a chain reaction and kamikaze it. And somehow Seema has one of these, and that's all she uses. And it's actually just good at like killing other mechs, because we learned that melee gets you through the anti-range shields, and is actually super effective, and one of the big reasons that the Lilac fleet still can fuck.
Yeah, they basically have dune shields, right? Which is like they have at high velocity projectiles are less effective, but if you use melee weaponry correctly, you can get through them.
And you can also, like, the better of a pilot you are, you can move it and kind of make it more powerful in certain ways. but melee weapons overall. The design of this is so cool. I love the designs of the Lilac mechs. The kind of lo-fi polygon models that are used in this. Like, okay, the whole fleet shot of the Lilac fleet, and you're like, oh, those are asteroids. Nope, those are just more ships, is beautiful, but then all of the mechs are just like these
Yeah, the
fuckers.
Lilac mechs have like a standard issue sort of silhouette and frame that kind of looks like a labor, like a Pat Labor mech.
Yeah.
And then they'll put basically either like a purpose built accoutrements on them, or like in Sio's case, like for some reason just straight up whatever animal you are is also your mech, which is great. When we first see Sio's mech, it has the chest paneling off. And it has piston torso, and I love piston torso. Piston torso is a classic in robots.
Torso.
It has two really interesting features. So it has piston torso initially. It also has like shoulder cape for a second because the shoulder was installed.
Yes,
I did like the Echo because when Seema's ship is or Xiomara, when Xiomara's ship is shot down, she takes a shoulder injury, and I thought it was really cool that like when you first see her
100%.
Dragoon, its shoulder, the same shoulder, is not complete. But the other thing it has is they scavenge anything and everything, but especially anything from the Duchy, and they scavenge the head unit from the Duchy. And so it has eyes, not a visor. It has like that anthropomorphic.
It has
and
the
is
bunny head.
Yeah, it's a bunny head. And I just think that is so interesting that it's like when we see later, we see Susie and Xiomara's mechs launch at the same time and in the same shots. They look different in a way that I really like. It really shows like they have a similar visual sense in the sense that they have that Lilac fleet cobbled together look. But like in the face, you could see that, and I mean symbolism. You can see that there is something distinctly Dutchy about Xiomara's.
There's also this the other feature that the Lilac mechs have is the GI, which I don't know that we've gotten what it stands for. So I kept thinking gastrointestinal. That's all I could think of when they were talking about GI.
Okay, what's your dark theory? I think it's literally brain matter.
Oh,
I feel like it has to be. And I kept thinking GI as in like a GI, like a soldier. And I was like, I know it stands for something, but to me it seems like probably there's so
gay idiot.
Gay idiot.
It's the gay idiot system.
Xiomara's room comes pre-haunted, which is fun.
Yeah, that's the most Chevalier thing in the whole thing to me.
Oh yeah, room haunted. You know, going out with a gun, room haunted. The room comes pre-haunted. For me, immediately, I was like, when they were describing how the GI system connects to you and how it kind of thinks thoughts at you and like thinks your own thoughts in a weird way. I was and she talks about like how complicated a piece of machinery it is and how she is becoming a circuit in it. I'm like, oh, so it's brain matter to brain matter, basically. Like it's Shinji's mom. I'm really interested to find out more about it, but that is my dark theory.
Yeah, Mechs. I love these.
To go to back up, let's go to the Coquette Dragoon. So number one, I'd like to point to you the flag behind me and the colors on it, and I'm pointing at Shio's mech, and I'm saying she painted it in the trans colors, you guys. What could it mean? It actually looks pretty dope.
It does.
To talk about it, they also all customize their flight suits, and
oh my god, the flight suit sequence, and specifically Lucky, the old flight suit mechanic who she bonds with. Yeah, I love Lucky so much. I love
Lucky.
We can just divert and do that all right now, which is they go and they get customizations for Gio's suit. Ayane's is basically a BDSM outfit. It's hot as fuck. Sally's is like the most normal yellow dog outfit ever.
Susie? Can you please put some respect on her name?
Susie, yeah.
And Xiomara says, I want the patch that looks like a burger. But no, it's beautiful. It does use an M16A1, which with the straight mags, which is I think very interesting.
I'm not guns the way Alice is guns, but I noticed I didn't have the numbers in my head, but when she's doing target practice in her mech, I was like, that is an image of a real gun that she just has.
Alice, correct me, am I wrong? Is the M16, and now this may be an improved version, but is the M16 the one they sent into Vietnam that was like classically shit?
Yeah, no, this is the exact one. That's the joke. With the 10-round straight mag that everybody fucking hated.
For listeners, hey, on the socials, I've been promoting Bloodworks' history of the AK-47. As a counterpoint to that, they did cover the American development of rifles during the Vietnam period. And the history that is unfolded for me, because I didn't know gun stuff, the history that was unfolded for me about the development, deployment, and absolute cover-up of the disastrous shitbag that was the M16.
Yeah, dude,
was crazy to learn.
For some reason, I knew about this. I think I had a friend in high school who this for some listeners. There was a time before you could just say you were autistic in public. And
yeah,
so
you just
I think
had a friend who like
and you just had a friend who was just really into Miss Kalashnikov. Yeah.
But like that was when I first heard of this, but like to me that is such an that's another really interesting signifier. You want to talk about a doomed quagmire conflict where you have insufficient fucking armaments? I think it is so funny that she is shooting an M16.
And it's important to note that Ivy May is Australian, and I think there's a lot of stuff in here that is extremely explicitly like precisely aimed condemnations of American deployments of military strategy and politics.
But I do want to say, because I feel like I erased it earlier, in the discussion of the internal politics of the Lilac Fleet, that is the most UK/Commonwealth/Australian shit about there is no difference between the Democratic Party and the Labour Party. They still support the military. They don't,
I think
love it.
It's because I kept trying to find like the one-to-ones, like the high-speed rail part. I was like, oh, so the main ship is Japan, and that falls apart in my thought. And then I was like, well, actually, there's been so many history resets.
Exactly.
That everything is everything in the kind of like osmosis of our dead end society, eat your Wibbleburger.
What we see of the capital ship is a Japanese suburb, though, to be clear.
True.
Straight up.
We're real Tokyo vibes, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I think that's interesting because it's like, it is Tokyo, but Tokyo is a specific thing in the sense of like the creation of an alienated urbanity that has room for suburbs that are all surrounded by high walls and security cameras and narrow streets and, you know, this kind of shit. Like, that is a thing that I think is not exclusive to any one place. It is exclusive to, I think, a mindset and a period of time, which is this, like, I have just enough money to be better than a lot of the other people on the fringes of my society, and I am going to be so paranoid about losing it. I used to work at IKEA. This was exclusively our customer base. Just enough money
space
to maybe
upper middle class.
Maybe just enough money to buy the nice sofa at IKEA, but so paranoid about it that they will destroy you as a retail worker if there is any kind of hiccup with the process, because they are so fragile.
Did their card decline because of some technological
things.
issue? They have to tell you exactly how much is in that account very indignantly, as if it's your fault.
It was really funny, like moving through the society. It's like, yeah, it's Tokyo, but it is also fucking Des Moines, Iowa. Like it is also exactly these places.
Okay, using the different kinds of spaceships to talk about the different kinds of modern living, being like, we're walking through the suburbs. Hey, I can see a garden behind this wall. But why is there a wall? Aren't gardens meant to be enjoyed? Like,
yeah.
Bruh.
What got me is like, Shamara has a really hard time with wasted space because she comes from very compact vessels. And there are whole areas, especially of the suburbs, where there's like layers of them. Like there's different, they kind of look like they're on hills, but the hills are obviously completely straight edged because they're just like platforms. But like they are not in layers the way apartment buildings are. There is not a density. And she specifically observes that, like, if they actually used all the space that they have in this fucking suburb, that they used to just be open space above and around these people, everyone could be in this ship. It is so capacious. There is no reason for people to live on the fringes.
So Susie's mech is called Strawberry and it's red.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, also, there's an SD version now available of the
Yes,
gunpla of Susie's
I
mech,
SD
which is a
gunpla.
major plot point, which I cannot get over.
I want the SD Strawberry. I am not immune to propaganda.
I know. As someone who is fighting for her life trying to get hold of an SD camphor, I don't want to talk about how much I would buy that.
So, here's the thing. Okay, we're going to get to the mech of it. I'm doing it right now. We have to talk about can we just talk about chapter 3? But we can go back to Honey and Belle. I have to talk about the Coquette Dragoon and why we're covering this. This is Mechs. So she gets in and they're like, okay, start loading it up. And we see the cockpit. And the cockpit has been right-sized for Xiaomara. They could... everything that they build these mechs with is repurposed. When you lose one of these, it's lost forever. They talk about this a lot. But they still, like, personalize it to the pilot because it's, like, a personal identity thing. It has just like the shittiest partially yellowed keyboard from a Windows 95 machine and plus 2 flight sticks and then what looks like, I think it's an F-15 console in front of it. She has the 3 screens like a GM, which chef's kiss. Yes, they have flight suits. Hers has bunny ears. That's great. But she gets in it. And so they run through the checklist and she's like, don't I need to know anything? What if it goes wrong? Yes, I scored high, but what if something goes wrong? And everybody's like, nothing ever goes wrong when you score that high. No one has died during one of these in forever. It's probably fine.
It's been 465 days since a pilot death in the workplace.
It hits, and we get this psychological attack of her getting all of war downloaded into her brain at once. The shit fucking rules.
It's so well executed. And then the way that it hits you with that huge wall of text all at once, like normally you're scrolling through text line by line. And in this moment specifically, it generates it all at once in this huge block. And it's like so overwhelming and evocative of like what's going on.
If you happen to be eating your Costco pizza and have it on auto, it goes by like that. And I had to go, whoa. Was that important? And I had to back up and I was like trying to read through it. And like I'd accidentally click. And
you had
the
to
whole
use
thing
your
would
pizza
leave,
to scroll up because you just couldn't.
I was slamming my pizza on my yellowed keyboard. But no, it was really cool how quickly information was coming at you. Like
the artistry of using battle maps in the background. And then we get the GI talking to us, which the GI has a different font than everybody else. It's MS-DOS in bright bubblegum pink, which is just very loud. And we get the line, and I think we all read it. Zhou didn't read it. Xiao didn't see it because it was their first time, but we all saw the emotional regulation happen, right?
Yeah, she brings it up later as something that she clocked but didn't focus on. But yeah, I literally have a quote where I wrote down emotional correction active. And I was like, yep, here it is. It's the Mechs blow.
So the GI system is we don't use magic here, guys, in the Lilac Fleet, but
it's not magic. It's not haunted.
It's so unknown science anymore. No one really knows how it works. And I think that's insane to me.
I think, okay, one thing I think is so fun about the world building in this is that the Lilac Fleet is fucked. Like Brian said, we've done the fucking plot of the Big O like 500 times, and it doesn't matter. Like, we've just, whatever, we don't understand anything. But the huge ideological thing that we see a politician say on screen is that, hey, we fundamentally can never come to peace with the Duchy because they're a cult that believes magic is real. And like, listen, do we not know how the weather works in our own ship? Obviously. But that's because it's classified, and they like lean on the Arthur C. Clarke quote as like ideology. They're like, hey, it's not magic. Our science is simply so advanced, it seems indistinguishable from magic, and that is a threat, and don't you dare say we have magic again. It's
both
so
sides
good.
saying we can't finish this war because reasons, and that reason, magical lychee.
Well, and the press secretary in that interview says like, we want peace. We're going to get peace during this administration, which is a very haunting thing to hear right now in 2026. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. Hey, if you remember the Iraq War, if you're under 30, you may not remember this.
The only other mech I have, so the launch sequence is incredible. It's full motion video. It's the only full motion video in the visual novel so far. It goes incredibly hard.
So fucking amazing.
Because it's full motion video, but there's unifying aesthetics that go all through this, from the drawn stuff to the pictures that have been edited to everything. The unifying aesthetics mean that when this shit starts moving and stays moving, it's like, oh shit, this is cool.
It's so cool. We see both in motion and later in just illustrations, we see the Coquette in silhouette up against the Zephyranthes. And if you want to talk about scale, it's she's pink for miles. It's insanely huge, and it goes so like earlier we saw because of how CO's introduced, we saw the relative size of a person to a mech right away, and so they could easily fit in a mech's hand. The mechs are really big in this one, right? Compared to even that, the Zephyranthes, like they said, is continent sized, and it really comes through. And
we're getting kind of a world building download, but like it is describing a scale of labor and resources and construction knowledge and time and everything that had to go into creating the Zephyranthes, which is the only surviving ship of 3 of these that once existed.
Mm-hmm.
And it is inconceivable. They cannot reproduce it. And it is so huge. Like it goes crazy.
This is also
really cool.
this is also a thing that happens in Hard Reboot, right? They have basically that exact same plot where they have these tiers of technology, and there's one that there's all this stuff that exists in the world that can't be reproduced. It hits every time. That's such a good element.
So we go on this first test flight, and Susie says, "Hey, you're a perfect pilot now. You're so good at this. It's actually so easy. Anyone can fly a fighter jet. What if we just made it so anyone with a good score could fly a fighter jet?" And she's like, "I need you to make sure your gun can hit." And it's not magic. It's just calculations. But she points to a ship, and Shio points at it and lines it up and starts to think, "Hey, I used to clean ships like that got shot by dragoons like this. Inside the battery that I'm being pointed at," and it's in a wrecked field, it's just a destroyed one, 20 people would have worked in that gun battery. And this one shot would have gone in, hit the powder keg, killed everybody there, caused a chain reaction, and taken down the ship. It was one pull of my trigger, and I didn't even have to think about it. And that's their whole lives being killed, and the power I feel in this moment. And she starts to spiral because the GI system is bleeding into her, and you just start to feel like we get this beautiful scene where she's like, I could kill anyone. I could kill and I want to kill people.
The line is, this is what it means to feel special. I love this because this was one of the best parts of G-Quux to me, which is when Nyan pilots the Quux for the first time, and she has that moment where she's like, "Oh my God, this is easy. This is effortless." And it's like horrifying and manic, and Quest also has a moment like this when she pilots the Aziera, right? Where it's like, I am doing these horrifying things, and yet I'm slotting so perfectly into this, and I feel like the top of the world. It's this cognitive dissonance that's so haunting. And then she throws up and passes out.
Well, and I think it's especially haunting because something this visual novel is very concerned with on both sides. We kind of glossed over chapter 2 because it is a lot of just a conversation between 2 characters. This visual novel is hugely about alienation and isolation, and about feeling exploited and feeling like you are exploiting other people, and like you don't know how to connect to people. And so that's what makes it so jarring when you sit in the pilot seat of a Dragoon and you feel good. And it feels so good.
Yeah.
You're good at it. Being with the GI system, later when she's disconnected from the GI system, there's something Ayane talks about at the arcade. She's still a way better shot than anyone else now. She never would have been a good shot, but the GI system has just changed her brain, and now she's a good shot. And there is something fucked about the fact that it's you've spent your entire life feeling so alienated and so fucked up and like you can't touch anyone and that you are awful and you are an irredeemable piece of human garbage with no value. And then you sit in a fucking mech and you're like, I was born for this. I am more special than everyone else. I'm 1 out of 10,000. This is either shit, not to quote Dracula Flow, but this shit ain't nothing to me.
And you can think that and then immediately be so sickened by that thought that you vomit and pass out, because that is a horrifying power. Ayane talks about just wanting to take a gun and gun down the people on the capital ship because they don't really deserve this. They're living in a psychosis. We talk about the mental state.
Alice, can we talk about the fact that the boys from Top Gun are also here? And they just get referenced. They're not characters.
They're having their whole thing. They have their flight jackets with the patches. They're talking about like, yeah, that bitch killed herself, but I got 17 kills the other day. Yeah, bro. And then they like
it's so
check
funny
each
that
other.
literally Goose and Maverick are on the same base as CO, and they reference them as these rowdy ass boys who talk about war like it doesn't matter.
The Macross Plus plot is happening, and then over there is an anxious bunny girl and her hyena friend.
Yeah, 100%.
But I just think that is fascinating, because my first thought when she was like, this is so easy, I was born for this, was, oh, I'd be fucked. Because there have definitely been awful behaviors that were antisocial, especially when I was a teenager, that I engaged in just because I got dopamine and I could do it, no one else could. And it's like, I could see myself becoming the worst pilot in history just because it feeds into that warm feeling. You just keep doing it.
I'm going to do a Nico and talk about a personal story on the podcast that's relevant to this, which is, hi, I'm a trans woman. And I wasn't always a trans woman who was out. I was a trans woman who had to live in boy mode, as the kids say. Because we're not...
I was like, I'm young. I can use that term.
Unfortunately, we're not in Lilac, where I assume gender confirmation is just something you can just like flip a button for at Wibbleburger. I don't know. Also, probably part of the medical debt that CO is in. When I was growing up, hey, I was poor. And the military is an option when you're poor, because you know what also is expensive in a Western society? Gender affirming care. Well, the ones I'm a part of, not like ones that maybe that's a part of something. I don't know. But I went around and I did the ASVAB test, which is the military aptitude test, where they basically just give you general questions that lead them to know if you would be a good soldier. You'll never guess. As an autistic woman really into guns and math, I was very high scoring, and they were like, hey, and they probably do this to any ex-gifted kid. They were like, we want to put you in the nuclear track because you're smart enough to work with nuclear systems. And we want you to do that. And I, being a shivering 18-year-old little trans girly who was going through it, and much like Gio, just like posting fanfic online with my friends, I was like, this is my only option. This is my only way out of where I'm at in life. Anyway, I didn't do it. I did get out of the claws of imperialistic society, but they almost gave me the power to be over a nuclear reactor. And that's scary to me. What if that nuclear reactor was powered by an endless field of lilies or Yuri? What if
it's in the name, Lilacs?
Shut the fuck up. It's the Yuri engine. It's powered by Yuri. Let me live in it. That's my story about, that's the, what if you just passed a test to be in the military to be a good tool of war?
What was crazy to me was like, I've had moments like that. I didn't do the ASVAB or anything, but I've had moments where it's like, with the way my brain works, it's like, man, would the military have been good for me because it had structure? Bitch, there's so many things in life that have structure. Don't join the military. But sometimes your like, world is so narrowed that it's like, oh, this may be the only thing that can make me better or can get me out of my circumstances. Or like,
it's a great day to desert if you've joined the military already.
Hey, it's a great day to disobey direct orders.
Little trick, be trans. They kick you out, but you just get regular discharged. You're good. Just transition.
If you're in the American military right now, you have two options. The first option is to your commanding officer, and the second option is to trans your gender.
Yep. This is the official OSG stance.
Yeah.
I just really think I want to pay homage to the fact that this story is probably coming from a space of being a trans woman who had to join the military. And while I didn't have that lived experience, I know many of those girlies online.
You had the sliding doors of it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had the devil handing you the like apple or whatever. Like you had the devil be like, hey,
you had the devil handing you
the
the Raytheon lanyard.
Could this just be me doing therapy live on air? Which is the other part of this is when Gio talks about how she used to be friends with online leftists. And she was like, oh my God, they're all having so much fun because they all live in America together. And then they all move into a share house to do art. And you're the person online who is left out because you can't do that. And you know that they're there for you and that they're your friends. But eventually the primary conversation vector doesn't become an online chat room. And I've been that girly and that hurts.
Hey, it probably feels hella different. If we're talking about extremely online people, it probably feels hella different to see a bunch of Americans talking about leftism when you're from Brazil. Like, I see this conversation happen a lot where it's like, hey, people from an extremely populous place who has, like, their own problems, who are dealing with their own, like, rise of fascism and dealing with this shit, but don't happen to be in the white Western imperial core. Like, that is such a different experience to be, like, in the same chat rooms, but in a totally different life experience. Like, okay, something I thought of with the ease at which it is to fire a bullet from the Dragoon and to do massive damage with the Dragoon, I couldn't help but think about drone warfare. So CO has the unexpected and rare thing in this situation of having been functionally someone who would have been tasked to get the Toyota Hilux and, like, power wash the insurgent out of it. Like, who would have seen the aftermath of an attack and did routinely deal with, like, the remains of people who were subject to the violence that she is now being put in a position to enact. That is way rarer for Americans. The violence that is happening is so remote that unless you are able to extend that empathy or expose yourself to the images and the video and stuff coming out of war zones, and I mean, even the images and video are not going to capture what it's actually like in the way that, like, CO has exposure to being in those spaces that are just splattered, you know?
Do we have anything to really say? I mean, I have a couple things to say about chapter 2.
Let's just talk about it, which is...
Well, we should talk about the duchy, because the duchy's weird, and this is a
that's
good
basically the
opportunity to
value
talk
here,
about it.
I think.
No, there's one other value, which is, guys, I've got to go to the bathroom, but I'm going to leave the door open. I'll be right back.
Okay, so we can really be immersed.
Yeah. Do you guys ever like do the emotional equivalent of frauding in public for like 4 hours and then be like, so are you like into girls or?
This is the most Yuri shit. It's literally 7 hours of being at a rich party and spending time with another person having gay moments where you're basically just about to just, it's beautiful. I love those two.
Lex, go to the farmer's market and hit on a real woman in real life. Stop having extended, fruitless conversations.
Well, this is part of the conversation too, right? Because one of my major notes here amongst the fluff is that the duchy has this extremely strange, like merit-based religion/marriage system where it's like, you do not have to be a man and a woman. So first of all, because magic is real, you don't even have to be a man and a woman to copulate. But second of all, you don't have to be a man and a woman to get married, but you do have to fit into a masculine and feminine archetype, which is exactly how shipping works. And so my note is, and this is the homestuck of it all, is the duchy's religion and politic based on shipping?
They're literally kin. It's so loud.
There's literally a part where somebody's like, oh, I specialize in writing the Queen's literature, which, as it turns out, is just Yuri fetish manga.
Yes.
Like,
the queen, whose official height in the canon is tall. Wrote fanfic when she was younger, and people love it.
I like when stuff talks about how gender is complicated and that's difficult without... Gender is complicated and that's difficult from the perspective of someone for whom gender is complicated and difficult rather than someone straight, for example, who's complaining about how gender is complicated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we get Honey Rose, who is a like in a relation, she says this as much, right? In a relationship, she would technically be a submissive, feminine coded person, but she doesn't like to present as feminine in terms of like the performance of her gender. She wears masculine clothing. She's a very the real girlies know she's Baru Cormorant. She's a Tainhu coded as fuck.
So like when she showed up and they were like, "This is a cowgirl," I was like, "But where's the cowkini?" And it grew on me, you know?
I thought she was a lie. I don't know animals. I thought she was a lion for a long time.
Her thing is that she's bad at putting things to words. I think it's very cute.
She's a sniper. And again, getting on,
Sniper wolf,
I specifically...
Sniper cow.
I specifically... the ship name for these two is Sniper Wolf, so...
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
You're so fucking welcome. I got your ass.
I'm thriving right now.
No, so like, the themes of isolation, the themes of alienation, there's a really good... I took a picture. Alice, hilariously, you were like, yeah, I was just taking pictures with my phone. That is all of my screenshots, because I was on my Linux computer and I still don't super know how to take screenshots really well.
I'm
so
obsessed
I was just taking
with
pictures
you.
of my phone. Hey, by the way, thanks for releasing this game for Linux.
And Android.
But the specific part that I took a picture of was the first time Honey was ordered to kill somebody, she remembered staring at their body so far away that it felt like trying to discern shape from a shadow. She stared at it for what felt like an eternity, trying to make sense of what had happened. It didn't feel sad. She didn't understand it. Her life was inhuman, and she became inhuman. Everything was so far away. Like, that is the sniper experience. Like, again, you know, like, that is a huge component of Honey's character, is that she is a sniper, and she is a person who was more expressive in her youth and has become more and more reticent and quiet, and I think that is a symptom of the alienation.
That's Lock on Noise, Alice TTRPG character spotted. Bellchime Katzbalger is a brat coded wolf girl,
allegedly adult woman who carries
adult
plush
woman
everywhere. I'll say this. There were a couple of moments where I remember when we in the group chat as a bit all took like a kink test.
Oh yeah.
And listeners,
oh yeah.
I failed it. Do you ever fail the kink test? I failed it. I was the most vanilla person in the entire group. Like, by a margin that was embarrassing. Like, the test results basically came back like, you can get gay married, but you otherwise are just go away, suburbanite. Like, it basically came out to vanilla. And so, like, there's a lot of things that I encounter, and I initially have a response of like, ooh, that's not for me. But then thankfully I am an enlightened person who's in queer spaces and doesn't complain about people in pup masks. And so I went, okay, yeah, no, that's not me, but it is part of the community. But
this character likes
the
head
age
pats
stuff
and belly
has been
rubs.
getting me in this.
The age stuff is
yeah.
Yeah.
And Belle isn't the only character. It's just like Belle and Sio are very similar. And like, but here's the thing again, where reading Sio's internal monologue helps me understand this better. Like, again, hey, if you're like, I don't understand this kink, maybe just extend some empathy and be like, it's not for me, but this is interesting, right?
And what's interesting, I think about Belle, you said she's a lot like Sio, and I think that's very deliberate, because what does she carry around but a pink bunny? You know. Anyway, this chapter was maybe a little bit boring, but I liked some of the stuff we learned about the duchy.
Yeah, I think what I struggled here with is that the writing in so many parts of this can be so concise and so cutting.
Yes.
And then this whole thing with Belle and Honey was so roundabout.
For hours, dude.
For hours. It's long and
It's self-gratifying. It's I have like 50 Yuri manga behind me that go that long, and like
yeah. That's the thing. That's the vibe I started to get.
I was there for it, but like I was just like, oh, now we're doing this scene. There is a sense of completion to these Yuri events. Like when we go to the zoo in chapter 5, we're doing the whole zoo through the gift shop. We're not cutting through this. You're getting the whole zoo.
We're getting every zoo. Well, we're also getting the best character, but we'll talk about it.
I do want to also bring to the forefront, as we are talking about the inherent kink of it all. which is a quote from Ayane. Fetishism, by definition, has no inherent sexual aspect.
No, that's true, though. Yeah,
so
yeah,
I want
yeah,
us
yeah.
to remember that.
Yeah.
Like, for me, this has an inherent sexual aspect. But for most people, this can just be your thing. But no, hey, the piss kink is loud. I get it. Belle,
The piss is loud? The piss is loud, like a strong stream?
I feel like tinkling is less loud than pissing. You know what I mean? It's the difference between a honk me and a honk shoe.
And that's the official OSG stance on fans.
I like the royalty aspect of the duchy. I like that the different kinds of people you come across in online spaces. Belle writes fanfic and does fan creations, but is also the head of their household technically. So they're exorbitantly rich and have to do nothing, but they're also sickly ill. So they just stay at home doing fanfic. And like, that's a person you can be texty with online if you're an espresso depresso person, where you're like, if I had that money, I wouldn't be like this kind of thing.
Belle draws fetish comics of different characters as pudding. And there is a drawing of Honey Rose as a pudding that I want on a t-shirt so bad. It is
And I'm
funny.
sorry. You called that fetish drawing. I think you mean the Queen's literature?
Oh, sorry, the Queen's literature. Yes, sorry.
I love it. It's so funny.
I never got tired of Belle's little PNG bouncing back and forth. That's it. I love him.
And it was so funny because I was like, is this like a special thing that I forgot in Renpai? You could literally just have characters bounce, and it's used to such great effect here. The Gydax jiggle physics of the Renpai bounce.
So the duchy is a merit-based society, but also has a royalty structure that is based on the queen giving you the nod, which is called the selection.
The queen also reproducing asexually via cell division.
Yeah.
Except for the one time she fucked a deer.
I need to know what is going on.
I have a headcanon.
Life.
We're 90% in. I'm calling my shot. It's nanomachines. That's why they can decide their size and their shape and be whatever. Like, Emil just decides to be 6'10" and puts on 8 other tails so she could be a 9-tailed cat because aura
Like some
farming
kind
as
of Les
I am a
Enfants
god.
Terribles?
Nanomachine, son.
Yes. See. But I also want to point out, as a trans woman coming to this, I'm like, I can pick out all of the trans hyperfixations. Hey, it's just the Emperor of Mankind and the Primarchs. Like, we're just doing Warhammer 40k with the Duchy in a way that I love.
Yeah, but it's fluffy and soft.
It's fluffy and soft. It's not
She's
gothic
got
dark.
Massive naturals.
I love Emil as a character. I love the Duchy. I love, sci-fi taking the keeping royal children in hiding until their public debut, being turned to a duchy colony with a over a kilometer depth secret built-in facility with a manor in some rolling fields so that they can just grow up as a natural person.
Staffed by literal fascist puppets, but they're cute and clumsy, so it's awesome, actually. Part 2, episodes 3, 4, and 5. We kind of talked about a lot of the mech stuff that's going on here, but Shio is finally allowed to take her Dragoon out a few times and has a crisis about it every time. She also probably has a crisis about putting socks on, but that's why we love her, honestly. She gets close to fellow squad mate Ayane, and they hang out also for conservatively 7,000 hours, but it's broken up by other stuff, so I like this a little bit more.
Also, I feel like their conversations were way less circling. This may just be a thing with Honey. Like, that may have been a writing choice to convey Honey to,
Maybe,
but like they actually have
yeah.
a number of conversations.
At the end of it all, we meet Queen Charlotte de Lucia and her 2 auxiliary daughters as she reveals to Emil she knows something about Seema Valentine and assigns her and Honey to capture the Lilac Ace alive. They promptly don't do that, but we'll see what happens. Also, magic is extremely real, and Emil is just straight up an Earthsea wizard.
Hey, sorry. I'm here from the democratic government of the Lilac Fleet. Magic is not real.
Sorry, do you mean the socially liberal but fiscally conservative?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
The Lilac
Yes.
Fleet?
And I'm here to tell you
Magic is not
real. The only thing that's real is the invisible hand of the free market, which is not magic.
I'm holding up my hand and I'm saying, but wait, I thought in the duchy they had mysticism and occultism, and these are completely separate things, right, guys? These definitely aren't the same underlying thing, right?
Well, I think that this is interesting because this can tie into, like, if you follow cryptotheism on Tumblr or any of the other platforms, they are a person who is deeply invested in understanding historical mysticism and occultism. And it is interesting historically how those two diverge. And it is something I don't know a ton about, but if you are the type of person who's into astrology, but also like critically thinks, it's worth looking into. The history there is really interesting. And I like that it's invoked here, even though functionally it's the same shit.
I want to talk about the space zombie family. I thought it was interesting to make Garma a half deer girl. I thought that was interesting.
I also thought it was interesting to make Garma a half deer girl. I also think it's interesting to make a fucking, what's her name, Minerva Zabi a way more wizened child than Minerva Zabi ever was. But
yeah, she's actualized in a way that is hilarious.
I guess we haven't watched Unicorn yet, but I don't think, as of right now, Minerva Zabi has not had this level of characterization. I
think after Unicorn, you'll still say, "Wow, this is like a perfect princess."
I do think it's worth saying while we're talking about mysticism and stuff. So an important plot element is that magic is only supposed to exist in the duchy to the extent that we acknowledge magic is real, which it is not real. I cannot emphasize enough how not real magic is. But like, no, so like it's only supposed to happen there, but of course it doesn't only happen there. And like a major sort of part of the fascist project of the duchy is eliminating anyone outside of the duchy who clearly manifests the blessing that is supposed to only happen in the duchy. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of work done to eliminate people who have that happen. But clearly it can happen. And I think there's a really interesting undercurrent here where we've talked about, it's like, okay, Seema Valentine from the Lilac side seems to be either a child of the queen or someone who has this blessing, but seems more likely to be a child of the queen.
Well, it's Casvel Daikun. So
CO seems to be someone who just has the blessing. And again, like if you want to draw straight lines, you can be like, okay, this is new types. But I do think it's actually more complicated and interesting than necessarily what new typism is, because it's tied up in the identity of, I mean, new typism is kind of tied up in the identity of Xeon because of the theories of literally Xeon. There is a religiosity around this. There is a exclusivity around this that is really interesting. It makes it feel like the blessing situation that CO may or may not have, that Seema may or may not have recognized in her, is much rarer than being a new type.
Okay, so I think I think something I want to talk about is my theory. So we have our imperialistic society, but I think the duchy is much more of a classist-based society, obviously. And so I think that the selection process and all of that is just lost technology in the same way. It's all lost technology in this, like, it doesn't really matter kind of way. We're using things we don't understand. But also, how big is the duchy and where is Earth are things we don't know yet. Which is really fun.
Here's what we know about the duchy. Really deep fascist playground, obviously. Orange colored sky. That shit's orange.
They're orange. Yeah. Orange. I think it may not matter, but the like head in the clouds sort of elevated is not the right word. It's just straight up not. What I'm trying to think of, like a better, like, sort of lofty, like, aspirational writing that Tomino has with new types doesn't make it. I don't care as much about the specifics of what it means to be a new type, how new types work, blah 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 blah. The language they're using in this and like all the different like reference and stuff make me want to understand what the fuck is going on with the duchy's magic system in a much more detailed way. And I hope we get that eventually.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. We kind of talked about a bunch of this stuff already. Do we?
Okay, we can also. Okay. Hey, one of the things that they point to is Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I evoked it earlier. We introduced Sunset, which is the amalgamation of Southeast Asian countries, and like that kind of not actively in the giant war state, but benefiting from the money of it kind of way, and also used as a third party for the war.
Oh, and to launder 3D animation.
3D animation, which Lilac is good at, and the Duchy loves.
It reminds me of the show, of that magical girl show from Nadesco, right? That kind of also had it would take the valences of where the war was going with it. This is straight up like, these characters are us. Like, this is way more intense about it. But I quite like there's a lot of mirroring obviously going on between sides. And one of the things that they do really well is they show both sides watching Magical Lychee together.
While it was airing,
not together,
because you don't want to get spoiled, which is really the truest thing. Okay, them just constantly talking about we're really not that different and the same corporation sells the same stuff.
Just to because we do go back to CO a bunch. I mean, it's part of her character. I don't know that I have that much to say about it, but we do get the explicit confirmation that CO was sexually assaulted by a foster father in these chapters, and that's like kind of wraps into a lot of the things that go on with her and the mech, and like how it makes her feel powerful and stuff.
We go to gun class. PDW's personal defense weapons. This was an MP7. I want to give a shout out. Lovely reference to Half-Life 2 here. Trans girls know. The inscrutable trans references. When Honey is teaching our younger princess how to shoot, which she is a natural at, they're using a Lee Enfield rifle. And they even talk about how it's a reproduction of a gun that doesn't exist anymore because it's so old, but it's now an antique.
They're doing the hunting in the British countryside, which is like, of course you have that rifle.
And that's why the Lee Enfield is such an interesting pull, right? Because that is like the British rifle. Like if the M whatever is the American, like the M carbine is the American rifle.
But before that scene, and this is such a great thing in terms of narrative composition that I think we'd really have to hand it to Ivy Mae, which is, before that, we've gotten a bunch of stuff about how in the fleet, PDWs are not being allowed on the base because of the girl that killed herself. And right before this, we get everybody getting their guns back, and like all of CO's reactions to having the gun, the crisis she has about it, are right before this. And so it colors this scene, which is Honey doing this bonding activity during Golden Hour with what's her name, Cecily. Very grim. It makes it just very strange and implicitly violent in a way that I thought was really interesting and cool.
Well, and I thought it was interesting now, having been exposed to so much Gundam and seeing the journey from Amuro Ray in 0079 in the Gundam, having a hard time firing the Gundam's weapons at like Char when he was in his normal suit and shit. Like having a reaction to violence, being grateful energy ran out in his rifle too, where we end up in CCA where Amuro is visibly, and Zeta as well, but like where Amuro is visibly carrying a lower back holster and like carries a pistol everywhere and gives pistols to people.
Gives
and, like,
pistols to children.
I really resonated with a lot of this. A conversation I had recently with friend of the show, Iris J, was actually about like gun culture and having guns and your relationship to a gun as a leftist, right? Because like in an ideal world, I want every gun slagged. In an unideal world, I know every racist uncle I have has a fucking armory, and so I want a fucking armory, right? And so it's like, it's that kind of frustrating thing, but it's like, there's a specific thing that CO has a reaction to, which is when they're in the class where they're learning to strip their guns before they get their guns back, and the boys are just pointing them at each other and pretending to shoot each other. And all she can think about, and part of it is having been connected to the GI system, but all she can think about is that, like, there's a gun on a table, and there's, like, the area in front of the muzzle, and it is deactivated, but all she can think about is what it would be like if it went off and just splattered somebody in front of her, right? And I felt that so keenly as someone who, like, my mom knew she was raising me in a gun culture and would have a handgun, and so I never had toy guns. I didn't have water pistols, I didn't have rubber band guns, I didn't have BB guns, I didn't have any of that shit. And it is so interesting to look at the response to gun culture in this, also knowing that the artist is Australian, which has a very different reaction to guns. But, like, the weight that a gun has when you've actually been raised to appreciate how dangerous it is.
Yeah. So when she eventually does have to get her gun because she runs away. She realizes that eventually she has to go back. She gets caught by the person she doesn't want to because really, if anybody asks, it's going to fall apart. But she's trying to put it off as long as she can. And she gets the Hill, who is kind of a very... I like Hill as a character, especially after Chapter 5, Part 1. But Hill gets the gun and hands it to her. And is like, do you ever holster? And she's like, no, because the minute I heard we were getting guns, I ran away. I didn't want this. I don't want this. I'm spiraling. And she's like, okay, you are certified in this. Like, it's like, oh, you took the gun course when you were out in the fringes. So you can just have a gun, get it to your room, keep for safekeeping. And she just was like, just put it in your bag. Just put a gun in your bag. And she does. And we get this shot, which I love, which it's the bunny hand drawn around a hand holding a Glock 23 pistol. And it is just a picture of a Glock 23 pistol. I have one of these in my house right now. And she gets to her room and she gets it out. And she's like, I have to make sure it's safe. And she looks for the safety. And the Glock 23 has what is called a trigger pull safety, which just means there's a smaller trigger on the trigger. It's made for cops and soldiers to be able to just pull out their gun and start blasting. And she remembers the PDW in the office, which is the same way. It is a purpose-built weapon to spray and pray after you are in a specific situation to kill people trying to kill you, or just to kill people. And she talks about this a lot about, like, these weapons are purpose-built with one purpose, to kill. And then she unloads it, and she realizes they didn't give me any bullets. Which, if you've ever been in the army, and you don't get bullets, it's not a good place to be. And Zio is going through this, like, she has scars on her body, but she also has scars from cutting. And she isn't eating, not because she has an eating disorder, which she does, but because of the horrifying things that are happening. She has a little toy for being an orphan that's supposed to remind her to be a normal functioning member of society. And they're like, here's a gun. Don't do like the last girl in your room. And then the only other thing I want to talk about is like, hey guys, I'm over here. And one of the first things I sent to all of you was the tonight's episode, the author's barely disguised fetish, but it was edited. And I just think it's very loud. It's very important. The author's brazen fetish presented with such hedonistic flair and open pride. It makes you feel a little embarrassed for needing to hide your own passions behind self-effacing jokes in order to preserve a sense of safe, pseudo-ironic detachment. We do all the kinks in this, and I love it. That's it.
You know what?
I'm happy with kinks.
It's authentic. It's like, it's important.
Look at the tags. This probably has a kink for you.
It didn't have one for me, but I was.
Yet, but yeah. Yeah, no, me and Brian
there's still
both
time.
like, I'm clapping.
There's still time.
You. Can you imagine if they drop in just like one DILF for no reason, and you're like, whoa.
Lucky was right there.
Can we get the Lion Mayor from Zootopia as a mech pilot in this or something? Yeah, a couple other things I just want to shout out before we start to wrap up. We didn't really talk about the music. The music goes so crazy in this.
Oh my fucking god. And the deployment of it.
Yeah.
The track Anti-Material. That's my track. That shit, every time that popped up, I was like,
my track is, I believe it's just straight up Ayane's theme. It's Regen Receive by Utheka. That is my favorite track. I am listening to that. I'm listening to it on its own.
The cherry one. That's when Ayane
that's another one of
and Zio
Ayane's.
are flirting horrifically gaily.
I like the one, we'll talk about it when we get to the Partisan episode in 1 million years, but like Partisan is my favorite season of Friends at the Table, and not the least of which because, as Austin Walker himself put it, Twilight Mirage was Frank Ocean, Partisan is Vince Staples. I love an uncomfortable, electronic, alienating. So when Anti-Material hits, every time I'm like, ooh, I'm freaking into sensitive style.
It's so good.
Sound design is beautiful, but yeah, all of these songs are just... The OST for this is insane.
It's a coding element, but I really like every time the song changes, you get the little credit at the top. I thought that'd be obtrusive, but it's just very simple. It's right there, and that's why we can name favorite tracks.
The songs,
I love that.
Yeah. No, that's a great shout out.
Oh, I will say accessibility option. Let me turn on character names for dialogue, because it took me a while to figure out what icon was everybody's before the dialogue really gave me their name enough.
Yeah, that's
stupid.
kind of fair. Yeah, that's kind of fair. Yeah.
That's me pleading to Ivy May. Thank you.
We just quick shout outs to OSG is classically that meme of the person in the desert avoiding the water and going towards the unhinged woman. Emil's big sister Elise, who is a centaur, is just genuinely an awful person, and I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
The video
critical
of me
support.
drunk and pissing myself on the subway is making the rounds, so I threw my phone at the wall. All right, Elise. I love just Ayane being like, we should turn against the entire Lilac fleet so that I can fuck Princess Elise. It's
yes,
beautiful.
Anything else, guys? Did we coquette this dragoon?
I think we have Tinder. Okay, I do have 2 questions for you, which I will rescind if they're part of your game.
Okay.
Hey, gamers.
Yeah.
What's your fucking fursona? First of all, okay, I kept thinking there was a fucking Tumblr ass going around where somebody's like, I'm not a furry, but I made a fursona just in case there's an apocalyptic situation that forces us all to have fursonas. And the person answered the question was like, yeah, that's reasonable. You should be prepared for anything. So anyway, what's your fucking fursona in case of an apocalypse where we all have to become furries?
I don't have a fursona, but...
What's that post that's like, I might be a furry, but the economy's crashing, we're in a war, and we're running out of thin water, so I don't have time for all that. Yeah.
First of all, Alice, you're a fucking liar because you literally have a fursona.
Oh wait, I'm a bear. Isn't it a bear fursona? I'm a bear. Kuma, I forgot my Kuma
where you
bear.
have little bear ears. It's
I'm bear coded.
What? I didn't know about
I haven't
this.
sent you this. I'll find it real quick.
That's cute.
What about you two? Sorry. Hey, don't ask what personas are and then leave me dying out here as the only one talking about their persona.
So it's tricky, right? Because in terms of the honestly, I find at this point cringe gay subculture around this. I don't want to say otter, but I want to be like a semi-water dwelling mammal that's kind of cute, like an otter or maybe a stoat.
A leopard seal.
What about a weird looking shrimp? Like a really fucked up shrimp that makes you cry and fall to pieces.
Of all, as we all know, shrimps is bugs, so why would you say that to Brian?
Why would you say that to me? First, second of all, that's not a cute mammal.
You wouldn't be an elephant, Brian?
So elephants are my favorite animal, but I'm not.
But you would have a truck.
I'd have a. When I was in, I'm an adult, and so they're kind of normal now. But my ears have always been this size, and so I got made fun of a lot as a kid for having big ears. So maybe elephant is the one.
I also, like Alice, I'm not a furry, but I believe in their beliefs, which is to say I believe in just doing your shit 100%, which made me, in thinking about this, I think I would be a cow, and specifically I would be a cow, and because I'm butch, I would have, like, a horn rack the way that, like, fucking Ayane has falsies. Yeah. Like, I would have, like, I would be doing some butch shit, like...
Man, I can't wait to commission the art for this. For me,
my second question was going to be, what is the name of your dragoon? But you can think on this.
All right, Alice.
Well, we have to do something very important, which is we have to rate these goddamn dragoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We do. We see a bunch. And one we didn't talk about, and Nico posted a picture of it, kind of, which is we just kind of see it in passing, which is Ayane's dragoon, which has like a sensor dome head. I love it.
Yeah, I like that.
We have the Coquette, obviously. We have the Honeybee. We have Strawberry. And then I don't think we get names or like specific things about these, but we saw some Duchy Mechs at the very beginning too.
Yeah, which is, what I was talking about, the aesthetic differences.
So, Alice, what do you think?
10 out of 10. I love this.
You know what?
It's not even all of Coquette Dragoon. The mech of it all, like, give me the falling to pieces, shitting, farting, puking, just dying in a cockpit as I get downloaded every battle map from the Battle of the... I was trying to figure out, one, what the transit map on the subway was, if that was from a real city or not. I think it was Melbourne. And two, if... Anyway, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I love these guys. I can't wait to see more of them in this. I think I don't even want to dock it points, not because of a possibility space kind of thing. I am fully satisfied with what I got from a mech perspective.
A mech perspective.
I want a kit of all of them. I love them. I'm dying.
Mm-hmm. Nico?
That got me because you know what? Hilariously, at one point in my life, and this is a core memory for me, I was sitting in the parking lot of a Walmart after we'd gone through the Jack in the Box drive-thru, and I was literally having a breakdown because I lived in poverty and our lives were miserable, and I was crying and trying to eat a Jack in the Box cheeseburger at the same time. And so when that fucking happened on screen,
I have also had a life-ending crisis while eating fast food, crying in my car.
It's the most universal thing.
It's a universal experience.
Oh my god, y'all. So this one for me, it's a little complicated because I will say I really don't like the design of the Duchy mechs, like just period. Again, I'm not a furry. I believe in your beliefs. I will defend to the death your right to be a furry. But the anthro stuff doesn't really like appeal to me in the form of the Duchy stuff. Now, we've only seen these like drawn, which to be fair, like I like the Coquette Dragoon drawn okay, but the 3D model is what got me, right? But again, that said, my favorite type of sci-fi is recycled, repurposed, retrofitted, grungy ass, cobbled together sci-fi. So the Lilac Fleet shit is incredibly my shit. And again, the animations do a huge service to this, but like I would love a kid of the Dragoon. So again, like the Coquette Dragoon. So like it has to be at least a 6 because I would absolutely get a kid of this. And I my final score is a 7 because it's like I do, and that extra point comes from the GI system, which again, like I've got my theories about what that is, but it is so compelling as not a novel concept, but a novel iteration on the concept. And I really like it as something that makes piloting dead easy because that is such a complicating, horrifying element of the sauce that is in Coquette Dragoon. Like it is so interesting and compelling to me. So for me, this is a 7. Brian, what you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a 7 for me as well. I had a weird journey with this.
Traitors.
Not everything can get a Hyakushiki.
Yeah, goddamn.
Only the stuff written by Sharon J. Chow.
Yeah. I had a weird journey with this where like at the beginning of chapter 1, I put it at a 5 because I was like, okay, these are fine. And like I mentioned, I was getting a Voices of a Distant Star energy from this project. And so I kind of thought, it's going to be like this where the mechs are kind of incidental and like a lot of cool stuff happens in and around them, but they themselves are not this like, they are kind of a singular thing. There's not a lot of like different stuff that you see on them or with them. That was wrong. So I kept ticking it up. And at one point it was at an 8. I was thinking about it last night. I knocked it down 1 point, not out of anything I think it does wrong, but because at this point it's incomplete. And I want to know more about what specifically it looks like to pilot a Duchy mech before I decide what my final comprehensive thing is going to be. And like I think we'll do another episode on this when more content is out, and I might rate it higher or lower depending on like what the answer to that stuff is. So I'm giving it like a good average to it's not mid, it's not fine, it's good, and so I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really want to see how the Duchy pilots, because the first thing we get from Emil is like a total revulsion of the GI system. So I really want to know.
Can't believe you also gave the mech from Mecha Godzilla a 7, Nico. Anyway, I'm in my head about it.
Her name is Kiryu, and you will respect her.
Yeah, there's a fern.
There's a fern.
Yeah. We're almost done with the first volume. 2 volumes planned, and it's been about 3 years of development. So I think
we'll
monumental
amount of writing, just like a monument, visually, musically, aesthetically. Probably. And I read fast. It probably took me about 10 hours.
It took me 15, but I was simmering in it.
Yeah.
It's hard because I did
There's no
this
time
thing where
track.
There's no time track, and I did a thing where I would play a chapter and then go do something else,
Yeah.
and then come back to it. I would estimate probably around 10 hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be back again in a couple of years for volume 2. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the takeaway here.
And this is my call to action for the listenership. This is incredibly cool, and I mean it is a kinetic novel, but I'm also aware of things like Star Sword Nemesis. Speaking of projects that Max Schwartz was attached to, Max did illustrations for that. It is an itch.io mech downloadable novel. And like I know there's a lot of stuff like this out there, and I would just like to put out a call to the listenership. If you have like a favorite written like indie mech, like it can be self-indulgent. Obviously, we've just covered Coquette Dragoon. Like, if you've got something like this that's a smaller project that maybe I wouldn't have necessarily heard of if it didn't literally cross my blue sky, I would love to get recommendations on this. Like, I would like to read more stuff that is not. As someone who likes to bring books to the podcast, I would love to have more of a selection of that outside of what has been commercially published.
And it's nice to come up for air from anime sometimes. Yeah. I mean, this is anime in a lot of ways, but like, you know what I mean.
It's nice to come up from air from a specific vision too.
Yeah,
like we've been so immersed in the 1 year pod that it's like it was nice to hit similar themes from a very different perspective.
All right, I think we'll take a break and then we'll come back and we have a game and a letter and a party. Woo.
Oh my god, party! Hey pilots, Alice here. Not to be an anime heroine with you here in the break, but well, I called you back behind the school for a really important reason. It's just, I've been so happy spending all this time together talking about mechs, watching giant robot anime, and building gunpla kits together. All those wonderful days, laughing at the silly plot of Price of Smiles, sharing G-Savior with our friends, and even when we all cried at Pacific Rim 2. I really cherish you pilots, and that's why I can't keep this inside of me. I have to ask you a question. Okay, here goes. Will you please rate our podcast 5 stars? It really helps us with the algorithm. I mean, you can share with your friends too, or just post about it incessantly online. It would mean so much to me. Whew, glad I got that off my chest. Well, alright pilots, see you back in the episode.
Okay, welcome back from the break. I have a game.
Welcome back. A game, you say?
A game.
Wow.
I'm a little worried. Is this going to be a game that's super easy to play, but we'll find out we killed like 500 people?
No. It's very difficult and you'll have killed no, I'm just kidding. This game is called, I'm looking at the title of this game and I hate myself. This game is called Billboard or William Wall.
Hello?
Coquette Dragoon features a smattering of very funny print and billboard ads stuck up all over the Zephyrantes. While we don't see the equivalent of this on the Dutchy side of things, I have decided they're probably a lot like some of the things we're about to discuss. Yeah. We're going to go back and forth between Alice and Nico. I will describe a public advert, and your job is to guess whether it came from the UK or the Dutchy or the United States or the Lilac Fleet. You can say UK or US just to make it easy. Does that sound simple enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll start with Alice. And I'm describing these because if I post them, they might have information that gives them away. Anyway. All right. Yeah. So this one's for Alice.
I'm ready.
This is a print ad. I guess all I'll say about it, the best way to describe it is in massive text, it says, "Are you making plans for your wife's death?" And there's a poorly photoshopped butcher's knife underneath it. This was in a newspaper.
William Wall.
So you're saying UK?
Yeah.
That is correct. That is from the UK.
The Dutchy! That's so Dutchy coded.
I read the rest of the text underneath. It's very small and hard to read, but it's very my bitch of a wife coded, which
My
is
bitch of a wife.
I didn't think the UK had that kind of thing going on, but whatever. Okay, Nico.
Tedo!
Oh my God, Tedo.
Listeners need to know that Tedo, the new producer for the podcast, because Miku is sort of a disinterested manager, has been trying to eat Alice's discarded onigiri and then failed, and is now scooped up in Alice's arm and is trying to do violence.
Yeah, she's furious.
If you want pictures of Tedo, join the OSG Discord.
True,
They're free.
there are pictures of Tedo in there.
Free for members.
Free for members. Okay, Nico.
Yes.
This is a black and white picture of someone's dinner, and it says, "This is what happens when a fly lands on your food. Flies can't eat solid food, so they soften it up. So to soften it up, they vomit on it. They stamp in the vomit until it's a liquid, usually stamping in a few germs for good measure. Then when it's good and ready, they suck it all back again, probably dripping some excrement at the same time. And when they finish eating, it's your turn. Cover your food."
That feels so Lilac, aka American, to me, because I feel like from a young age, I have had the specific factoid about fly vomit in my head.
Real.
Unfortunately, that's incorrect. This is a William Wall. This is from the UK.
What?
Damn.
If I had posted,
insane.
this is one of the ones where if I had posted, it would have given away because that is the most British dinner I've ever seen. It's a pile of boiled eggs, a cut in half tomato, and a dry steak.
That would have given the goat.
Yeah, I would have immediately been.
Yeah.
The bombers aren't overhead.
In America, we don't need you to cover your food because if your food gets messed up, you just buy more of it. So we didn't go through the Blitz. Just buy more food.
There's like all this farmland. What are you doing? What do you mean there's not
I
enough?
would simply go to the Midwest, which hasn't had a colony dropped on it yet, and hit Alice up and receive food.
Yet. SEMA, save me.
This is a big advertisement that says, "Open up the closet door. Don't assume your kids are straight."
That's got to be a billboard. That's such an American thing. That's like a Glad advertisement.
Yeah, it's actually an advertisement for mothersandothersvirginia.org, and that is from the US. You got that correct.
Oh, it's from Moms Against Roadhead?
All right. Nico, this is a magazine ad that is, I guess it's made to look like a comic book cover. Anyway, it says, "Real man's adventure. It was close, but with a limited slip differential, I had the edge. Step inside a rock-hard world of guts and courage. Our eyes scanned the landscape for the dangers ahead." And there's a cut-off, sleeveless muscle man standing next to a very poorly photoshopped Ford truck.
Shit. Beautiful.
I mean, that last little bit may have been a giveaway, but we'll see. Maybe this was Ford's first attempt to advertise to the UK. I'm gonna say Lilac/America.
That's incorrect. This was from the UK.
It's just their first attempt.
Yes!
They're like, what is
Cultural
the UK like? Toxic masculinity, hunting.
That was intense.
I have to know what's okay. Let me. You can't copy paste pictures from Google Docs into Discord. There is a. Oh, actually,
Love technology. Lost art. Sorry,
screenshot.
it's not magic. It's Google Docs.
It's technology.
Just like our weather, Google Docs is inscrutable and no one will ever replicate it again. What is going on in the background here?
Hold on.
What?
I'm navigating. Hello?
Is that a
Is it
flood
like a
coming
flood
off
or
of
an
the...
avalanche?
It's a flood, but
No,
if you
there's
look
a man's
closely,
face in there.
there's a man's face. It's like the mountain is a man that's sneezing or something.
Because this looks like a classic like ruin, like that they would have put in a like a pulp novel. Like, oh, this is from the subcontinent somewhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
This looks like it was AI generated. I know it wasn't, but like he's just
It kinda
the Ford
does,
truck
doesn't
only
it?
has room for one man who's sitting in the middle of it.
This is a Chuck Tingle
This is
cover
Yeah.
with the slip differential entered my butt and it made me survive.
Pounded in the
Pounded
butt
in
by
the
my
ass
limited
by my
slip.
truck of the hegemon being rejected by the
by the Oriental wilds. All right, Alice.
Yeah, hi.
This one's
I'm
real
here.
easy. This is a large sign. This is a large red sign that in white letters says enough.
Here's the thing. A large
That's
red
just something
sign
ghosts
is
would
a
say to you.
universal sign. William Wall.
That is incorrect. This is from the United States.
No!
Enough.
The
Enough.
duchy. No. What was this telling me to stop doing?
I don't know. It is on the side of the road. It just says enough.
It is
No,
enough.
that's the median American voter, though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just enough, and you never know what taxes. Are you conservative?
Oh my God.
Maybe. Is it?
It's
is
just
it
too much
hate
lately.
Crimes?
What's that awful
Like-
Zach Galifianakis, Will Ferrell presidential election comedy where Zach Galifianakis' campaign tagline was "It's a mess." Too accurate. All right, Nico.
Yes.
This is another large sign. It says, "When you die, you will meet God."
That's gotta be. That's gotta be American. And signs like that, I cannot emphasize enough. Every 2 miles in the American South.
Yeah. I
Every 2 miles in
Fun
the
fact
Midwest.
about this one, you got it correct. Fun fact about this one,
Yeah.
I don't have an image of this one because this is a billboard that if you drive I-25 northbound from New Mexico into Denver, you will see this billboard conservatively 6 times. All right.
Maybe the Lilac Fleet was right about religion.
Yeah, I will say the only W for them is in condemning all magic. They have also eliminated allegedly religion, but I feel like they're probably still culturally Christian.
Well,
Culturally
that's the-
Christian, but fiscally Muslim.
Would you like to buy these seeds?
But fiscally atheist.
Yeah. All right, Alice. This is a black and white print ad. It says in huge block letters at the top, in one American state, the penalty for exposing yourself is death.
That's something the Duchy put out. That's propaganda. That's Duchyganda.
That you can't.
You are correct. That is from the UK. The funny thing is, it's an advertisement for a Timberland jacket.
Hello? I mean, it gets me to stop and look at it. I'll say that much.
Sorry, I just saw the next one.
Wait, what state is that, by the way? Just in case.
I don't know because this one's so small. I cannot read the rest of the print, unfortunately.
Nico's on it.
I'm doing it.
All right, Nico. This is a color advertisement. It features how detailed do I want to be about this? Okay, it features a popular video game character at a urinal with several other men. All of the other men are looking at they're looking. All the other men are looking. In the caption it says, "No arms, no legs, huge features."
Yeah.
See, my instinct is American because we love advertising things based on the penis. But the UK loves advertising things just based on being a little bit crude with it.
Yeah,
So
they do.
that complicates things a little bit. I'm gonna say American with my reservations.
That's correct. This is actually a very well-known Rayman ad that was placed in like Game Informer. And
Hello?
it's if you look up like Rayman penis ad, it's probably one of the
Okay. Going real quick.
I'm
Look at
looking them
Raymond's
up.
dick.
I need you to look at his face in this too.
Interesting. Is he nutting right now?
No, I think that's his hands. He has the white gloves hands.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, you ever imply Rayman the size of Rayman's member?
I try not to think about Rayman.
Me too.
Because he's
not-
pissing so big. His
He's-
dick's so big that
Strong
he can just
stream.
point it up.
Strong stream.
Why did one of the men decide to follow the gap rule? That's what I want to know. Only one of them did this. Okay, Alice, this is a sign. It says, "You spend hours every day in a tunnel breathing other people's skin. That's right. Take a big lungful of other people's skin flakes. Breathe it in, you subterranean dwelling monkey."
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Duchy.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's the most UK shit I've ever heard in my life.
That's correct. This is a advertisement. I have to assume it's like on an underground car or something. But
The next sentence is, this shit would never happen in Cornwall, and a pint doesn't cost you $8, you gigantic London twat. The image accompanied is someone riding a horse, presumably in Cornwall, but they're riding it straight up through the ocean. It does not look like Shallows. That's the ocean.
In Cornwall, our horses have the powers of Christ. What are we doing?
All right, Nico, this is the last normal question.
Oh.
It's foreshadowing.
The rest of them are freak. They're for freaks.
They're for freaks. This is a purple sign. It has a feature. It features a vaguely Arabic man doing kind of a drumming like your French girls pose. And the caption is, "Save me from an arranged marriage. Find malikawife.com."
First of all, Malik, I love your hustle. Like, you're just out here. You're like, no, I really don't want my parents to keep paying matchmakers.
Yes.
I need, look at me, I'm so beautiful. I feel like that is also Dutchy.
That's correct.
Generally, yeah. I feel like if that was in America, some racist shit would have happened to it. So I just like,
that's
I'm
true.
sure there's racist shit happening to it in the UK too. But they tend to just say their racist shit to their fellow.
Yeah,
they say it.
Whoa.
They don't spray paint it in the way that we do.
All right. Let's see. We have a bonus question. Let me tally up what's happening here.
Teto couldn't make it up. She tried to jump on the table and she slammed into the side and fell down on the floor, and I felt so bad for her. So I picked her up and put her on the
our
desk.
new producer is having some challenges in her sort of work environment.
She's too small.
She's kind of a little bit too small.
Okay. We have one last question. This
I'm ready.
is a special kind of question. Alice, what kind of question would we normally have here?
Well, if it was special, like a pilot, it'd be a bonus question.
This bonus question is going to be me once again invoking the rarely evoking the title of Arbiter of Truth and Justice. If you could put out a billboard for OSG, what would you have it say? And the one that I like more will get a point.
Okay, give me. How much time do we have to write?
Whatever.
I gotta
Take
Don
your time,
Draper
take your
this
time,
shit
take your
like
time.
right now. We gotta go Don Draper mode.
I don't think about you at all.
You would be shocked at how much this didn't happen. Me about our episodes on Price of Smiles.
Alice, that one you posted is for Armored Core, isn't it?
No, that's the text from the same Rayman 3 ad where he's
really?
pissing in the urinal. Yeah, it's the little text in the bottom right. Would you like to read that to Vamp for us?
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, that is. Oh, my God. Plunge into 56 enormous levels and whip out all new powers and gear like the heavy metal fist and lockjaw to battle the gargantuan hoodlum army led by massive transforming bosses. Hey, real quick.
That's kind of charged.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this game is called Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc. Hey, real quick also, real quick. Would you guys also like me to list the systems this was available on?
Yes.
PC, GameCube, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox One, and Game Boy Advance.
That's such a weird smattering of consoles.
The early 2000s were a crazy time.
Yeah, and for those under 30. I'm kidding. Okay. The problem is I'm working from both a text perspective and an art direction perspective.
OSG Studios is LARPing a 1930s typist studio right now.
Yeah. You just hear the mechanical keyboards going.
Alice has actually pulled out an old-fashioned typewriter and is frantically tapping at it like you and McGregor at the beginning of Moulin Rouge.
I'm drinking 3 whiskey highballs. In a row, for no apparent reason. Also, I'm smoking.
Three highballs in one big, meaty lesbian claw, and the other gingerly holding a cigarette.
Yeah, in a little holder.
Okay, I think I figured it out.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Alice,
I'm coming to the pitch
first.
room. Okay, I've come into the pitch room. Okay, nice to meet you, Sharks. Here's my pitches for an advertisement for OSG. So I actually have 2.
Okay.
Because I can't follow instructions, and I'm a go-getter who thinks outside of the box.
Hilariously, I also have 2, so you're kind of like not even interesting.
One is one of those what we like to call a one where you have to put hashtag ad in the corner because it's fake. So I have Casval Daikun, and it has a picture of Shar as a politician smiling, and underneath it says a new type of leader, and it leads to our website when you go to the fake web zone.
Okay.
And then the more direct one is it's our art and everything, and the text is 9/11 was just the beginning. Learn about G Savior before it's too late.
Okay, I think Alice clutched this one out. I think Alice has already done it. I will present mine, but I'm at the pitch meeting and Dawn is already nodding, and I'm like, man, I don't have it. Like, I don't have it. I don't.
You're gonna be the guy where they all glare at him, and then the next panel he's getting thrown out the window.
I get that reference. I sat back down. I've smoothed my pencil skirt. I do squeak. It's your turn, Nico.
Okay, I get up again. I'm holding three highball glasses and a cigarette. I like to think I look like Sal from Mad Men, but I don't because I'm not gay and put together in the way
we have
that Sal
bullhorns
is.
on, so it's pretty cool. We're also the animal versions of us in this.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Yep. My first attempt. 3 podcasters. There are 3 of us. But of course, unfortunately, many podcasts have 3 people, so that wouldn't really differentiate us. So I moved on to my second concept. Big billboard, like those ones that have like car parts sticking out of them. You know how like some they'll have like the rear of a VW or something. It has like a big molded piece that's either like the head of a mech or a hand. It says secondhand Mechs for your ears only. Take exit 12. And on exit 12, there's a separate billboard that's white and just has our URL on it.
Damn, that's hard.
No, Alice crushed it. I'm sorry, Alice.
Okay, I've
I
outvoted.
think
Alice crushed it
secondary
for sure.
location.
Yeah.
To get to the billboard.
So Alice gets a
And
point
if you
there.
want to mock that up, okay.
Alice gets a point there, and let's see. Let me double check these again.
I think Alice wiped the floor with me in this game. She just naturally has a better instinct for advertising.
Yeah, I think it was actually a tie before that, but she just won with that one.
Oh, okay. I thought I failed a lot more, but yeah.
We're in the elevator afterwards, and I look at you, and I'm like, good job.
Thanks for asking. My billboard is it's very simple. It's just white with black text, and it says, "When you die, you will meet Lala soon."
No! Wait, can it be white, but there's a 3 opacity Lala suit on it?
Yes. And then behind her, a 2 opacity Remy from Ratchet. Oh no, Brian took a sip. Oh no. Casualty.
We're getting a flash transmission. This is one of the rarer types of flash transmissions. Alice, this is pinned in the channel if you would like to read it.
You're not gonna let me read it?
Oh, you can read it if you want.
Nico, you read it.
Read it.
I want to read it.
So this is, of course, a beautiful 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Unfortunately, if you're a podcast listener, you know this is the only place where writing your thoughts matters at all on the internet. It's just
Jesus.
Apple Podcast reviews. The title of this one is Listening from the Holy Moon of Partisan, The Body. I was looking up episodes of Friends at the Table's phenomenal coverage, the final years of the perfect millennium, when the divine podcasting delivered into my ears a trio of wonderful voices doing her glorious work by podcasting about a podcast. Having devoured all of OSG's Friends at the Table coverage, I am now very excited to be along for the ride for the 1-year pod and very patiently await the Partisan episode. This review was posted by user Clementine Kesh Sucks with an X. And I just want to say, Gucci Garantine, I'm free on Thursday. Oh my god, thank you for the wonderful review. Legitimately, again, like, unfortunately, Apple Podcasting has, like, fucking cultural hegemony on the fucking ratings, but 5-star reviews help us so much, and this is so lovely.
Your 5-star reviews help us put us at the top of Apple Podcast algorithm, and because Apple Podcast is the only one that lets you write a review, that also helps with SEO a lot, because the internet has been destroyed, and this is how we have to survive. So...
Eat your Wibble Burger!
Eat your Wibble Burger! And to Nico's point, if you have a thought and you're thinking about tweeting that thought, nobody's going to read that.
You know what they'll read? A 5-star review on OSG.
That's true. If you have any thought, don't write a Medium article. Do not take your shit to long reads. Do not motherfucking microblog with the enemy.
No
with
one
me
wants your
Tumblr.com.
Substack. They want to read
No.
our 5-star reviews.
They want to see our 5-star review. Oh no, legitimately, thank you so much. It was very kind. And
thank you.
It's funny, the Friends at the Table coverage concept was initially something that I think we were all kind of like, I don't know about this one because it is podcasting about a podcast, but also, hey, it's fun to do. And also, I like to think if people have been hesitant, like,
I'm officially we are curators at the weirdest museum off the side of the road. So you go to the billboard, you pull up the URL, and it says visit us in person, and you realize it's a mile down the road.
Yeah, it's exit 11.
And I've got like my crab mech from Avatar, and I'm willing to tell you about the crab mech from Avatar 2.
And I'm standing at the desk, and I have a whole bunch of those museum type like little things where you can either plug in headphones or it has like a little Bluetooth thing now. But then when you plug in your headphones, you just realize it's the entirety of Friends at the Table, and you're gonna be here for a long fucking time. And Brian's cooking.
I think
of us as a drug dealer for mechs sometimes, and I'm like, for some people they might not even consider that an actual play podcast could be mecha. So to be able to be like, hey, actually, what they're doing in Partisan is finally the mecha part of it all. Spoilers for my thoughts on Partisan. But like Twilight Mirage, you're like, you hear that and you're like, I never would have thought of that. Or like you hear about some of the other weird shit. Like we bring up books, like, hey, you want to fix when it comes to mecha? you look at our list and you're like, oh shit, that sounds cool. Let me get in on that. Okay.
We're opening our coat, and on one side is the Divine Motion, which of course is a horrible image to think of, period, but also inside a coat. And then on the other side is a fucking cradle coffin from Sensuality.
No! Oh my god, wretched.
Hey, when in Partisan do they get to the part where the two main protagonists are about to press a button on top of a tower that solves the world war?
I have some
version.
incredible news for you about the end of Partisan.
Podcasts are good, mechs are good.
Write me reviews, gloat me. I love praise, much like CO. Please praise me, etc., etc.
I believe actually the praise-begging kink girl is Belle, which again just points to Alice's sensibilities specifically. Anyway,
I gotta go.
And that is this episode of On the Shoulders of Giants, where we discussed Coquette Dragoon, Love is a Parasite. Hey, we made it through the whole episode, and I didn't say the subtitle. The game is called Coquette Dragoon, Love is a Parasite. Any parting thoughts, gang?
If you're a trans femme person who has ever engaged in the online space, hey, it's our Homestuck. Let's enjoy it while we've got it.
It's great. I can't co-sign this because of how deeply, painfully trans Homestuck is.
This is trans femme, though. It's very particular. It's very targeted towards us. Also, Ivy May can be supported on Patreon. You can get great development updates for this that I've signed up for. You can support artists micro blogging at them. This is great. Play this game. It's fun.
My parting thought is, as a lesbian, I'm taking you by the shoulders. You may have various different gender sexualities, but I'm just going to say this to you as a blanket statement because of what we've covered here today. Coquette Dragoon has a real thing about when you have received so little affectionate contact, you have a hard time determining where the line is between friendship and romance, and sexuality is an entirely muddled component in that. And I'm just looking you dead in the eyes with my big butch hands on your shoulder, and I'm saying to you, you can fucking ask. If you're like, are we friends or is there a vibe? You can, if you are willing to be vulnerable, turn to the person and go, are we friends or is there a vibe? The answer to that can be both. Also, just communicate. Just communicate. I'm so sorry. I know you feel like you need to script it. Just say it. Just say it. And delete Lex.
Just say it. The time will pass anyway.
Yes.
Just communication. I was about to say buy Gundam Wing Endless Waltz.
We'll work on a Yuri graphic for communication.
We'll work on a Yuri graphic for communication.
That's the OSG promise to you.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember you can reach out for advice from the team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to the same address. You can also catch up with us on social media. Links in the description for updates and more. We've got the Discord. We've got all this. Actually, I say we've got all the stuff. We have a Discord and a Blue Sky. That's all the stuff. We have a Tumblr. Nico's Tumblr.
We have a Tumblr. We have a YouTube. We have a Twitch.
We have a Twitch. We have. I need to get back on the saddle on Twitch, but we do have one. Coming out with us. Make sure to check back in 2 weeks. We'll be discussing Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn with guest Aaron of Giant Robot FM. Other guesting fame. And also they are a visual novel developer. We should have just asked them about this. Damn.
We can ask him next time. If you get tired of talking about Unicorn, just be like...
All right, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye. I love you. And then put a squeak sound in here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, you are a critter.
Stupid.